Dang it. You settle down. All right, your necklace is going on. Get up there. There's the baby. All wired up. Just got back from the park. All right, guys. Well, I got a hold of my brother-in-law. He said he'll be coming by about 3 o'clock, I hope. He got busy, so he said we'll get the trailer and head down there to clean out the shed today, I hope. And we're going to do a live show till he calls me this time. He said, I just got off the phone with him. And because we're trying to get my dad's house all ready to go on the market and everything, so hopefully it'll sell. Hey, all right. Hello, say, Mom. Have fun today at the meeting. Chico tired because he just got back from the park. Yeah, you. Huh? So I got some new videos, new channels I want to test out. So let me guys know the new routine now is you guys judge the videos now. Tell me if it's good or bad and I'll stop the videos. So I don't have to always ask Blind Eagle. Blind Eagle's always working. He works. Everybody works. But yeah, we'll just do that. Each video, the main videos I'm not sure on. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the short ones. Oh, wait. This is a big news update, you guys. I don't know if it's real, but it's off real raw news, you guys. So we'll see what happens on this. It's only about 4 minutes, 3 minutes.
Girls Corps on Thursday arrested former First Lady Dr. Jill Biden on charges of suspicion of treason, alleging in a now sealed indictment that her silence on her husband's dementia imperiled the nation after he and his handlers stole the 2020 presidential election. The formal charges, Real Raw News has learned, suggest that Mrs. Biden knew her husband had dementia and stage 3 Alzheimer's as early as 2018, long before he announced his bid for the presidency. Moreover, JAG contends that Mrs. Biden frequently dosed her husband with adrenochrome. RRN has covered this allegedly conspiratorial cocktail many times. It purportedly imbues one with exceptional strength, mental clarity, and sexual stamina, though it exacts a heavy toll. Like all narcotics, its effectiveness wanes with prolonged use, and cessation causes harmful side effects to conceal his cognitive decline. Mrs. Biden, a JAG source told RRN, had an ethical and legal responsibility to publicly acknowledge Joe's unfitness for office, but she instead willingly became part of the problem to elevate her status. Joe can't even get dressed without help, a JAG source said. And on the rare occasions he seemed lucid and energetic, like during the Dark Biden speech, he was so doped up on adrenochrome that once it wore off, he was bedridden an entire week. Yeah, Jill's wife, and a doctor, well, a fake doctor. Her degree is in education, not medicine. But her silence is inexcusable. An agent of chaos, that's what she is. She helped weaken and bankrupt this nation. According to our source, JAG honcho Major General David Bly had authored the indictment and asked patriotic President Trump to approve it, writing, "Mr. President, I'd sincerely appreciate your letting us take care of this problem. If you send this to the DOJ and they bring it before a grand jury, I guarantee it will get tossed. And if it doesn't, and they send her to trial, a sympathetic jury will acquit her. You know our record, our numbers. She belongs at Gitmo. Last night, 6 JAG agents surrounded the Bidens' 6,850 square foot property in Greenville, Delaware. Holding a no-knock arrest warrant, they forced their way in and caught Mrs. Biden off guard. She was in the master bathroom putting curlers in her hair as a snoring Joe lay sleeping on a living room couch. The agents ignored Joe but confronted Jill, showing her the warrant and informing her she'd be going with them to a military processing center. What's going on? You don't want me. He's downstairs, Mrs. Biden reportedly said, tossing her husband under the bus. Today, you're the lucky lottery winner, a JAG agent replied. We're here for you. As she tried to scream, one of the agents injected into her neck a sedative that silenced her and made her body limp. They carried her to an unmarked van parked outside. Joe slept through the whole ordeal. None of this absolved Joe Biden, our source said. But we know for a fact he was mentally impaired and asleep from 2021 to 2024. Jill can point us to the handlers we haven't caught yet. There's no way she'll resist interrogation. We have no corporate advertisers, nor billionaire philanthropists looking to support efforts to expose the deep state's evil agenda. Every donation, irrespective of the amount, is appreciated and helps ensure our survival in these perilous times.
So how was that one, you guys? I got 2 lion videos coming up.
But they made one mistake. They left you breathing.
Good.
And as long as breath still burns in your lungs, God is not done writing your story. You try to escape the silence. You chase noise, comfort, anything to drown the emptiness. But the silence stayed. And in that silence, God was there. You thought loneliness was abandonment. No. Loneliness was the battlefield where every mask shattered. Every false strength died. Every distraction was torn from your hands until nothing was left but you and God. That is where heroes are forged, not in comfort, not in applause, not when the world is watching, but in the cold, in the quiet, in the fire no one else can survive. You fell, you bled, you crawled through nights that would have broken many, but you are still here. Not because the war was easy, because heaven stood between you and the ruin. They saw the wound. They saw the silence. They saw the ashes. But they did not see the power waking underneath. The fire, the iron, the warrior God refused to bury. So tell me, who are you? When everything is stripped away, when the world goes silent, when no one comes to rescue you. Do you beg? Do you break? Or do you rise? Not rescued, forged, not comforted, crowned, not the same soul that entered the fire, but the one that walked out sharpened by it. So stop staring at what tried to destroy you. That place is not your grave. It is your forge. Every loss sharpened your edge. Every betrayal burned fear out of your bones. Every silent night trained your spirit to stand without applause. Now rise. Not to prove your pain. Not to beg the world to understand. Rise. Because heaven still has a battle with your name on it. Move like the earth remembers your fall. Walk like the storm bows to your voice. Stand like God. Put thunder in your chest and victory in your bones.
So the lion video had over 1,000 views on that one. I got another big one here. 3 minutes.
But they made one mistake. They left you breathing. And as long as breath still burns in your lungs, God is not done writing your story. You try to escape the silence. You chase noise, comfort, anything to drown the emptiness. But the silence stayed. And in that silence, God was there. You thought loneliness was abandonment. No. Loneliness was the battlefield where every mask shattered. Every false strength died. Every distraction was torn from your hands until nothing was left but you and God. That is where heroes are forged, not in comfort, not in applause, not when the world is watching, but in the cold, in the quiet, in the fire no one else can survive. You fell, you bled, you crawled through nights that would have broken many, but you are still here. Not because the war was easy, because heaven stood between you and the ruin. They saw the wound, they saw the silence, they saw the ashes, but they did not see the power waking underneath. The fire, the iron, the warrior God refused to bury. So tell me, who are you? When everything is stripped away, when the world goes silent, when no one comes to rescue you. Do you beg? Do you break? Or do you rise? Not rescued, forged, not comforted, crowned, not the same soul that entered the fire, but the one that walked out sharpened by it. So stop staring at what tried to destroy you. That place is not your grave. It is your forge. Every loss sharpened your edge. Every betrayal burned fear out of your bones. Every silent night trained your spirit to stand without applause. Now rise! Not to prove your pain, not to beg the world to understand. Rise, because heaven still has a battle with your name on it. Move like the earth remembers your fall. Walk like the storm bows to your voice. Stand like God. Put thunder in your chest and victory in your bones.
Okay, those are two big videos. Got over 800 on both of them there. 1,008. I got a 40-second one.
Children at their parks without clear consent, allegedly, and is now facing a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit. The suit claims Disney's new entrance system photographs guests, turns their faces into biometric measurements, all while visitors, including children, receive a little more than small and easily overlooked opt-out signs near select lanes. Plaintiffs say this flips privacy rights upside down. Instead of asking guests to opt in, Disney, allegedly, makes families figure out how to opt out. Disney currently denies the claims. Follow along for updates.
That was a popular 40-second one there. Okay, this one just came out with Benny video with Nick Shirley. Girl, thank you. You hear that first 3 videos?
Credits. Hollywood Casino. Download and play.
Up until the late 1970s, approximately 90% of America was of European descent, and practiced Christianity. And that was, by the way, enforced by law. Our immigration laws required that be the percentage of migrants coming to this country, because our ancestors knew that having something in common with your neighbor, speaking the same language, having the same sense of justice, tradition, law, order, these kind of things are critically important. And of course, somebody from Ireland is different than somebody from Italy, and there are still Irish and Italian neighborhoods all throughout the East Coast. But being from a predominantly Christian background and European background had some really good moorings for our young nation, and that allowed us to become one people, the American people. We were able to give up all of the titles, all the nobility, all the labels, and become Americans. And that's very important for a young nation. But something horrible happened after the 1970s. The Hart-Celler Act was passed in 1965 and implemented, and that got rid of the old quota systems, saying, well, it's pretty important that we bring in people that are going to have something in common with our way of life. Instead, we started bringing in third worlders and infinity third worlders who have nothing in common with our way of life. It's not to dehumanize any of them. It's just to say the obvious, which is that a Muslim from Somalia shares virtually nothing of the traditions or heritage of an American. And we've seen the disastrous results of that in, of course, our Congress, exemplified by Ilhan Omar, probably best. President Trump constantly roasting Ilhan Omar. We got to get her the hell out of here. She married her brother to get in. Donald Trump saying she has the shing.
Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little shing.
There's the shing right there. Here's Ilhan Omar saying,
in aan hadde ku barbaariyo iyagana ilmahooda ay ku barbaariyaan dhulkii aniga aan ku soo koray, taasna haddii ay suurtagelayso.
According to polls, something like 60% of Somalis that come here never learn English and only speak whatever Star Wars language that is. If you have a house fire in your neighborhood, how are you supposed to talk to that person? How are you supposed to help put out the fire? I mean, these are critical questions if you're trying to create a civilization and a functional society. And the reason why society doesn't function actually is because we don't hit on the basic things. But more importantly than the language she's speaking, what is she saying? Ilhan Omar here is saying, I am a Somalian girl. I was taken from my country, as though moving to America was so terrible for her. I miss my country. I dream of living in Somalia again. I want to raise my children in Somalia. Here's Ilhan Omar with the president of Somalia, calling him our president. She calls Trump an orange Nazi, but she says that the president of Somalia is our president. She has a special relationship with him, and Somalia is our home. She is his girl. Well, that could actually literally be true, because Somalia has the highest coefficient of inbreeding and child brides in the world. Look it up. It's true. She should go back. Ilhan Omar says Somalia is superior to the United States. I mean, these are the kind of comments that would get you deported in a different era. Somalis have always been the fabric of this nation, says Ilhan Omar.
A new era of American shipbuilding is here.
Before we connected with Synergy, it was a constant what if.
No. It's commentary like this that has multiple members of Congress calling for bans on foreign-born individuals from serving as judges or as members of Congress. No foreigners in office, thank you, says Nancy Mace. Ilhan Omar isn't pleased about that. She refuses to answer questions about it. And now, instead of popping off in the halls of Congress, as she is known to do, right? Ilhan Omar freaking out on this reporter.
For asking me anything. I have? Yes. Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big mistake? I have explained to the American people. What's the explanation? I have given them the explanation. Do you want to tell our viewers? Because I don't want to tell you jack shit. How about that? Okay. Have a good day.
Oh, my God.
She's like a literal psychopath. Where'd that plucky Ilhan Omar go? Because these days she's under federal investigation. She's not as happy anymore. She's not so keen to answer questions, Ilhan Omar, schlumping through the halls of Congress because people are beginning to circle the wagons. J.D. Vance saying that Ilhan Omar is under federal investigation by the DOJ. He's told me that in our interview. Tom Holman has also told me that when I interviewed him last month, because Ilhan Omar did marry her brother, according to DNA evidence. She doesn't have any good answer for this. And now the DOJ is pursuing the highest volume of denaturalization in the country's history.
But I'll be doing two shows. But
President Trump, we got two people for you right here. Two Minnesota residents arrested for $21 million Medicaid fraud scheme. $21 million. $21 million to Shmashmo Ahmed Hassan. Do you understand why you need... I'm not saying that there isn't criminality that happens in every culture, but in Somalia, it's an entire culture based on piracy. In Islam, we're seen as infidels. Like, the point is to conquer. The point is to take from nations like America. You have to keep that in mind. And I'm not trying to overgeneralize. You can read the Quran and you can read the teachings, but there's been a lot of taking going on here. Healthcare fraud, stealing more than $21 million from American taxpayers. Shmashmo Ahmad Hassan and Hanan Yuran Yusuf, charges of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, 8 counts of healthcare fraud, 2 counts of money laundering. Look at that. She looks like she's really having a terrible time. Here, look at this. Group.
Can you explain more what you're saying on that? I don't understand what you're talking about. What am I doing wrong? Angie, you know what he's saying? Yeah, Itchy just made a comment. Robert, pray God to give you a double dose of this semen. I don't know what that means. Just be respectful, please. That's all I got to say.
Rin, that $75,000 brand new teeth for both of them. Isn't that nice? What a tell. 2 Somali women arrested in $21 million Medicaid fraud scheme. You live paycheck to paycheck in the country that your ancestors built. Meanwhile, 2 Somali women have $21 million in the bank account. That's a lot of bananas and rice.
Okay. Thanks, Angie.
Shirley says, typical leerers. This is becoming so predictable now. At least they spelled therapy and autism right. Good for them. $75,000 worth of fake teeth.
What you were saying.
Third rule immigrants when you ask them to contribute and not commit violence. To Ilhan Omar's arrested in medical fraud scheme.
Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice.
Almost over, you guys.
Just let them talk. The one on the left looks like an Ilhan Omar doppelganger. Imagine how the group that organized refugee shipments into the U.S. describe the American dream. They laugh their asses off at us. They're not Americans. One of these two people is a naturalized citizen.
Yeah.
If you steal $21 million from the American taxpayers, you should have your citizenship revoked and deported. Yes, that's a fact. Correct. First sketch looks like Ilhan Omar. Where's the money? Exactly. Democrats sent Renee Good to die to defend this. 21 million. They submitted false and fraudulent claims to Medicaid using the company's Smart Therapy Center and Star Autism Center. Got to make examples of people. You have to put them in prison. Does look like Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar mugshot loading soon. Let's see. But you've got to make examples of it. You have to put them in jail. You have to do something. This is rampant. It's out of control. It's really worrying. And I think it's going to lead to something really bad because it's already has, obviously. But, you're going to sit there. I just don't think these people understand the damage they're doing to their own cause. I'll just leave it at that. You've literally blackpilled an entire generation. And so if your goal is unlimited migration forever and ever and ever, no one's down for that anymore. We've seen enough. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
So that was his first one for today. I got a new one on Trisha secret meeting. It said it's about 16 minutes.
Like send us into World War III or something. The idea here, are you like some kind of agent? You're the ones that went over there and got that lovely embassy in Tehran, right? The only Western nation to do so. So here is little Pedro. Okay, he's making a statement. My strongest condemnation of the incursion and explosion of a Russian drone on Romanian territory. He's expressing full solidarity with the affected civilians, with Romania and its people. Russia's violations of international law are unacceptable. I mean, that's kind of extreme, right? Because this could have been a legit mistake, and it actually could have been a mistake by the Ukrainians. And actually,
I'll be on tonight.
The Romanian president has said that might have been, but I digress. Let's finish with little Pedro here. He likes to sound like a big cheese. He's going down, by the way, like the corruption stuff, etc. He's got a very, very bad outcome awaiting him likely in Spain. Spain remains committed to the eastern flank and to the securities of its allies. So Russia's violations of international law, he said, are unacceptable. So he's ratcheting it up, just like Dmitry is, right? I mean, they're looking for some kind of power. Let's go over to Giorgia Meloni, who's a little bit more diplomatic. Italiana. Okay, so she said last night a Russian drone struck a civilian building in Romania. She's telling everybody injuring 2 citizens, etc. She did say this is an extremely serious act, which demonstrates how this war of aggression spares no one, continuing to brutally target innocent civilians, disregarding all limits and putting European security at risk. My deepest sympathy and solidarity go out to those affected, to the Romanian government, and to all the Romanian people. So, a more diplomatic, shall we say, measured response, and that she's making the point that we're at war here, right? And this is very serious, and these are the things that happen. And she's giving them room to say, yeah, this was probably a mistake. And that's what it's believed to be right now, guys. I mean, I should say the consensus is that this was some kind of mistake, but there is a feeling that these mistakes might be happening a little bit too often. I think there's something like 25 to 47 of these that have happened. Let me go over to Germany for a moment. This is our friend Fred Mertz, think I Love Lucy, little Freddie. Friedrich
Lucy
Mertz, who's also on his way out. So between little Pedro and little Freddie, they got some problems over there in Europe. Russia's, and he's sounding very strong here. reckless drone incursion into Romania. I mean, guys, are you not given one single minute to think about, the Ukrainians were probably trying to shoot it down and that's how it wound up going off into other airspace? I mean, even the Romanian president is saying that. Nobody's willing to talk about that. Russia's reckless drone incursion into Romania shows once again Russia's willingness to escalate. Germany stands with our NATO allies. The incident once again underscores the need for strong NATO posture on the eastern flank. We are ready to defend every inch of allied territory. You better believe it, because we just came out with our first defense report, 35 pages. I think they could have come up with more than that, right? It's been 81 years, guys. You've probably been sitting around some of your think tanks, fantasizing about this day. And all you had was 35 pages. Well, they are going to, they say, in Germany, lead the way forward for NATO. So now they got their big opportunity, I guess. Meanwhile, Spain is on our naughty list. Spain, who I think, oopsie daisy, was the most aggressive, if you would, of all of the Europeans with their statement. Let's go back to it for just a quick second. Spain's reaction, little Pedro saying that Russia's violations of international law are unacceptable. Gosh darn it. It's like he's talking about us. Remember, we're the ones that are illegal. We are the ones with la guerra that's illegal because, it's immoral, unjust. I don't know. I don't go through all his adjectives, but he made it very clear that we were also in violation of international law. I'm just saying. Okay, so little Pedro is getting all worked up. And this is little Pedro who said it was not okay for us to use our bases in Rota and Marone because it was illegal, right? We were involved in an illegal and unjustifiable war. Meanwhile, Georgia wasn't too great herself because she denied us that base in Sigonella. And these are things that we don't forget, okay? Especially at a time like this. And you know what? We warned you. We told you over and over and over again. One, take care of yourselves. And two, when we need to do something, if we're giving you all this money, we ought to be able to do it, for goodness sakes. It's like we have some kind of bad timeshare with these people. Let's go back to Donald Trump, who just a few weeks ago, late last month, was talking with my friend and former colleague Maria Bartiromo on her show on Fox Business about how we got a no good NATO.
I'm doing a great job for the country and for the world. We've had no help. Zero from NATO. We're there for them. They're not there for us. We spend, you saw the chart that came out a couple of days ago with a big monster red ball. That was us. And all these little satellite balls. And it represented the money spent on military and NATO. And it's ridiculous. And they should have been better. They should have said, we'll send somebody. It's a small operation compared to a big operation. But NATO was not there for us. And what it means, if they're not there for us here, they're not going to be there for us. So why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO if they're not going to be with us? If they're not going to be with us on Iran, they're not going to be with us on a much bigger subject than Iran.
Ghost your ROI worries. Ooh, spend smarter. Snapchat ads.
Segrid releases immediately and blocks acid that causes heartburn for 24 hours. Feel the difference.
Yeah. Okay. That's just common sense, guys.
Everybody,
and they're not with us. And I don't know what. Is Spain angling for some kind of war? Does Spain want us to get entrenched in that? Well, one, because maybe they get more money and like their economy is on a lifeline. And this guy, by the way, is going to be out of office soon because they may have him on corruption. They just raided his office the other day as he went to Rome to meet with the Pope to talk about peace. The guy who's all about peace, when it comes to Iran, seems to have quite a bit of fisticuffs going on when it comes to Russia. I'm just saying. So, yeah, this is ilegal, remember?
En pocas palabras, esto es un desastre absoluto.
Desastre absoluto. Yo hablo español. I actually speak Spanish and I love Spanish. I speak Italian and I love Italian. I actually once spoke German quite decently, almost fluently, because, I was a singer and everything. And I have lost it all. Anyway, maybe intentionally. Here he is telling everybody in his government that we're doing something illegal. And because we're doing this illegal thing, anybody who sides with us is basically in violation of international law. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Because don't forget, he's the guy who's like throwing up his fists right now, saying that Russia's violations of international law are unacceptable and that he's totally committed to the security of his allies. Okay, I guess you just weren't totally committed to the security of this ally. And by the way, this ally being the one that was actually trying to help secure the whole world and the darn Strait of Hormuz. What, you thought you were going to get some oil out of Tehran yourself? Maybe you're still thinking that over there in Spain. I wonder, because, they had a lot of business in Cuba. And they have, or did have a lot of business until our sanctions came in and interrupted it all with Iran. And they seem to kind of like China, too. I think China had a hand in that big little Socialista festival that they had in Barcelona that they invited Timmy Waltz to a couple of weeks ago. Well, Spain is reopening this embassy in Tehran. So, I'm just connecting the dots here, and I'm thinking Cuba, China, Iran, and now you want to pick a fight with Russia. Well, that's interesting because Russia is sort of typically, shall we say, friends with China and Iran and Cuba. So how does that work out? Well, let's just think through this, because maybe China and Iran would like us to be very busy in Europe. And that way, if we're very busy in Europe and we're fighting everything and everyone, maybe Russia, then that frees up China and Iran and Spain, who I think is just dying that Strait of Gibraltar, thinking, well, if Iran can control the Strait of Hormuz, maybe we got our eye on the Strait of Gibraltar. We sent a sub there a couple of weeks ago just to make sure he knew he couldn't, and we can pop up wherever we want in the world at any time. Not to mention our friends over in the UK actually still own Gibraltar. All right. So it's not going to be that easy, Spain. So stop with all these ideas. What do you guys think about that? I'll just ask the question because I'm looking at some of your commentaries right now. I don't have a good feeling on Spain. I really don't. I think that this guy might indeed be compromised. You know what's happened with his wife. She is now facing charges of corruption. His brother is facing charges of corruption. His mentor and predecessor is facing charges of corruption. And the anti-corruption police just raided his office in Madrid while he was visiting with the Pope to talk about how bad we are because of the whole excursion in Iran. So I find it peculiar. It's just that if he were friends with Iran and he were friends with China, he would theoretically then be friends with Russia, unless the big picture chess game might be, well, gee, Vladimir can, deal with us maybe a little bit in the Europeans if we just kind of force a little bit more action there in Europe. I'll tell you, we don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want any of this fighting. We really don't. And when we do have fighting, we want it to be fights that are well worth winning, that are going to make a substantive difference for the rest of the world for generations to come. That's why the Strait of Hormuz is important, okay? That's why we care about that. And Spain, I don't know. Maybe he thinks it's a distraction right now. He can focus on that. Meanwhile, you've got Germany. Germany's reaction to what just went down there in Romania is very much a proud German. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to come to the rescue here because, we just got a license to create a real military plan. We haven't been able to do that since World War II. Right? So the defense minister, who even knew they had a defense minister in Germany? The whole point of, a Marshall Plan and all that stuff was in part to contain Germany, right? But now Germany is going to get to unleash itself. Just be careful. Just be careful. They're the Germans after all. I don't know. They've been so wokeified. I can't imagine anything real happening. But he does talk a good game. He said, we are ready to defend every inch of Allied territory. Woohoo! Okay, Russia's reckless drone incursion. Again, I'm just going to point out what the guy in Romania said. The president is saying that we believe that this was, just something that went wrong, right? Where maybe Ukraine was trying to shoot it down and then it went over into our airspace, and it's very unfortunate. And you heard Georgia Maloney say, this is unfortunate. These are the things that happen in war. And you saw Marco say nothing, and the president hasn't said anything yet. And you saw what Vladimir Putin said, which was actually, I think, kind of a measured thing to say at the time, because he was just getting the information in real time. And he went out and did this press conference there in Kazakhstan and said, we don't know yet. We want to see the evidence. We want to see the drone, et cetera. And I mean, once we have all that, and then we can assess. But I just go back to this, like, it's terrible that we're in the war to begin with, right? Terrible that we're in the war, and we don't want to be in any more wars, period. But Germany's like, woohoo, we just got our license, 81 years. And Freddie Merz is like, we are ready to defend every inch of Allied territory. Of course, Freddie Merz, again, think I Love Lucy. Friedrich, I mean, he's doing as bad as Sanchez. It's funny, all the losers right now that are trying to gin up some kind of, bravado in the face of all this, all the ones that are suffering badly politically, the polls are way down. I mean, he's got like not even a 15% approval rating, I think, in the last numbers that I was looking at. Friedrich got on stage in some little town with a bunch of students in the audience and started talking smack recently. Big time smack. This was about a month ago. What an idiot. Like, he doesn't think that this is going to ricochet across the world. And he wants everybody to know, how smart he is and how stupid the U.S. is. You remember we saw this. You wonder why I forgot all the German, right? Anyway, especially since the Iranians, he said, are obviously negotiating very skillfully, or perhaps very skillfully refusing to negotiate. He's saying, and they're letting the Americans travel to Islamabad, and they're only sending them home empty-handed. An entire nation, meaning us, is being humiliated by the Iranian leadership, the IRGC. He said the so-called Revolutionary Guards, gosh, these guys are just dynamos. I gotta tell you, I was hearing those talking points in back channel Democrat circles. I talk to everyone, okay? I have my opinion, but I allow everybody to give me theirs because I want to make sure I'm coming to you with the most information possible. And I'm like, that's so interesting. I kid you not, I heard those exact talking points. Those were out there. And apparently they made their way to little Freddie Mertz's desk. And that's what he echoed on stage with all of those students. Poland, on the other hand, they're a little smarter over there. I got to give the Poles some credit. You know what they're doing? They're going out there and they're saying, we need more weapons to take care of ourselves so that, strength through power. Hopefully you never have to use them, okay? Hopefully you never have to use them. But as of today, Poland rushed to sign contracts with EU defense loans. I told you about those EU defense loans. They're fantastic. I mean, there's like no interest for the first 10 years or something. The interest rate is nothing. It's like 3%. It's like free money. Take it. Build yourself up, okay? Like the EU is printing money for you guys to actually build a military. So go ahead and do it. Well, the only ones that seem to be interested happen to be Poland and Romania. And they're like the ones that are actually facing some danger, right? And the rest of them are a bunch of freeloaders. Right. I mean, they're freeloaders because even after this, Spain is not willing to commit 5%. It won't even do 2%, for goodness sakes. Even after this, you get the Germans that say, well, we can't do it. I mean, we're going to come up with the architecture and we're going to run the whole defense thing, but we don't have 5% of our GDP. They are terrified for what is about to come in Turkey because you know what's coming down in Turkey? At the next meeting, we just had the one at The Hague where they all agreed to do the 5%. And then we said, well, are you actually paying your debts? And we found out, no, they're not. Well, there's going to be HELL to pay and then some. Yeah, then some. I want to go back to Romania for a second because look at they've got all kinds of actually really good stuff going on there. They have the ability actually to shoot down a lot of things, but apparently not this particular drone. They can shoot down ballistic missiles there in Romania, but not these $20,000 drones. Go figure.
Okay, that was today's first one on Trish. Next two are short ones. Air Force. Did it again. About 6 minutes.
High above the clouds in restricted airspace, a lone fighter jet cuts through the sky. This is the F-22 Raptor, the most advanced air superiority fighter ever built. But within seconds, two fast-moving contacts appear on radar. Unknown aircraft closing in from behind. The pilot confirms it visually. Two enemy fighters gaining fast. The question is simple. Can they catch the Raptor? The response is immediate. Twin afterburners ignite, unleashing raw thrust. In seconds, the Raptor accelerates, climbing harder and faster than most jets ever could. The pursuing jets push their engines to the limit, but the gap widens. They're fast, but not this fast. What gives the Raptor this edge? The pilot remains calm. Speed is only the beginning. What these jets don't realize is that the Raptor was designed not just to outrun threats, but to dominate them. Unlike most fighters, it can cruise beyond the speed of sound without afterburners. This is called supercruise, and it changes everything. Powering the F-22 are two Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines. Each produces over 35,000 pounds of thrust. The F-22's exhaust nozzles move. Thrust vectoring redirects power, letting it pivot, climb, and turn faster than conventional fighters. Its diamond-shaped wings and blended fuselage reduce drag while keeping lift. Even weapons are stored internally. Every surface cuts cleanly through the air. Compared to typical fourth-generation fighters, the Raptor holds energy through turns and climbs. It stays fast, even during aggressive maneuvers. Speed isn't enough. Enemy pilots can't catch it in a straight chase. So, if they can't outrun the Raptor, they'll try to shoot it down. The enemy jets fire their first missiles. They're closing in fast. At supersonic speed, every second counts. The Raptor has to dodge. Instantly, the jet rolls, pitches, and yaws, twisting through the sky. Advanced flight controls help the pilot make these precise, life-saving moves. With thrust vectoring and precision aerodynamics, the Raptor snaps into a new direction, maintaining speed while staying unpredictable. Onboard avionics calculate missile paths in real time, helping the pilot anticipate every threat. Evasion becomes almost instinctive. Missiles streak past just meters away, and somehow, even while carrying weapons, the Raptor keeps its stealth intact. The Raptor pulls away to safety. But if it can dodge missiles like this, how is it almost invisible to enemy radar? Enemy radar sweeps the sky, but the Raptor stays unseen. This isn't magic, it's engineering designed to defeat advanced detection. Its angular shape deflects radar waves away from the source. Every edge and slope is built to minimize reflection. Radar-absorbing coatings take it further. Specialized materials scatter and absorb signals, hiding a massive aircraft in plain sight. Electronic countermeasures jam and confuse enemy systems, creating false returns that make the Raptor seem to vanish. Even near enemy territory, radar can't lock on. The jet is there, but the screen shows nothing. But the pilot isn't blind. Advanced sensors and the HUD track enemy positions, letting the Raptor plan its next move undetected. Inside the cockpit, every second matters. The pilot scans enemy positions and incoming threats, turning raw data into split-second decisions. The helmet-mounted display projects the battlefield directly into view. Critical information appears instantly, without looking down. The flight computer analyzes threats in real time, suggesting evasive moves, even at supersonic speed and crushing G-forces. Integrated sensors fuse radar, infrared, and electronic intelligence into one clear picture, without revealing the Raptor's position. Even under extreme pressure, the HUD tracks multiple threats, guiding the pilot's instincts to react instantly and survive. Avionics and weapon systems sync seamlessly. The pilot is ready, and still stealthy, still in control, now prepared to strike. With the mission complete, all systems working in harmony, the F-22 prepares for its next challenge, a true display of engineering mastery. The F-22's internal weapons bays open smoothly, preserving its stealth while preparing to strike. Smart bombs adjust mid-flight, correcting their path to hit targets with surgical accuracy. Once the weapons are released, the bays close, and the Raptor fades from radar again. No rival jet matches its blend of speed, stealth, and agility. The F-22 controls the fight. Mission complete. Every system working in harmony. The Raptor resets, ready for the next engagement. Facing multiple enemy jets, the pilot commits to full engagement. Every system active, every move calculated. Missiles streak in at supersonic speed, but the Raptor twists away, its flight controls and agility pushing beyond what most jets can survive. Stealth isn't just coating, it's shape, materials, and electronic countermeasures working together, keeping the Raptor hidden even in the middle of combat. Under pressure, weapons deploy with perfect timing, striking targets without sacrificing stealth or control. Even the fastest rivals can't close the gap. Speed, maneuverability, and technology keep the Raptor ahead. In the end, the sky belongs to the F-22, a seamless blend of engineering precision, stealth, and firepower. With unmatched speed, the F-22 pulls away effortlessly, leaving enemy jets trailing far behind. Every control and sensor works in harmony. Pilots and avionics anticipating threats before they appear. Executing extreme maneuvers with ease, the Raptor turns high-speed agility into pure precision. No enemy jet can match its speed, stealth, or maneuverability. Engineering brilliance in motion. Returning safely, the F-22 proves how stealth, technology, and pilot skill ensure mission success. Speed, stealth, weapons, avionics, perfectly integrated. The F-22 Raptor defines air superiority.
Wow, that was a good one, huh, you guys? I got a 15-minute one on the chemtrails, you guys. No Billy yet.
Take your best guess. You don't have to be accurate. All down the line.
Repeat that question.
What percent of our atmosphere is CO2, carbon dioxide?
Anyone see this?
Wild guess. It's okay.
About 5%.
5?
I'll just follow you then.
We'll go 7.
I'll see their 5 and suggest that we know that transportation causes 49% of CO2. So that's why we're all working on energy transition.
All right. So what number do you think it is?
5.
5? How about you? I didn't hear you, Mr. Dreher.
7.
7. Did you have one, Mr. Boyd?
So we got a 5, 7.
This Price is Right.
8. I'm going to get the high end.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I don't mean to I put you on ice. I ask a lot of people that because all we hear is climate change, CO2, CO2. The answer is 0.04%. Not 1%, not 0.5%. It's 0.04%. It's gone up from 0.03 over the last couple decades. This is what we're being all contorted into doing, is this tiny change in CO2. If we get below 0.02, plant life starts dying up.
We have some sad news to report here. A giant in the weather world and the first weatherman at Good Morning America has died. Meteorologist John Coleman passed away at the age of 83. He founded the Weather Channel, was also a longtime meteorologist here at KUSI.
Thinks climate change is a hoax. His name is John Coleman. Before launching the Weather Channel in the early 1980s, he was the original weatherman on Good Morning America. And after launching the channel, he was also a local weatherman in New York, Chicago, and San Diego.
I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change. And I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney. And yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform. And I regret it's become political instead of scientific. But the science is on my side.
You told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
questions. Yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans and to control the rest.
Yes, sir. And that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, when if somebody had told me that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created.
Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
That's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles. There are 31,000 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not valid, that my position is correct. And we'll keep battling, and we will prevail in time, but I don't know if we'll do it in my lifetime.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you.
We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far, it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. Sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
In the 20th century, clouds were seeded by numerous countries around the globe with various chemicals to produce rain. China was just doing this over the summer in Beijing to make sure that there weren't any rain, that there wasn't any rain during the Olympics. But all this has changed dramatically with the U.S. military's secretive research and plans to control the planet's natural weather. This has not been given very much press, and we have to remember that we have a corporate-owned press where 85% of radio, television, and print media is owned by 5 corporations. So they're not going to talk about things that are of really serious consequence. The Air Force is on record as saying, quote, they want to control the weather by 2025. And we are not talking about just seeding the clouds for rain. Weather modification means, quote, any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere, unquote. And as of April this year, there are more than 150 different weather modification programs around the world. Since about 2000, the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have been spraying the entire United States sky with a toxic brew of chemicals and other biologic agents. Just want to show you something. We have 2 different kinds of trails in the sky right now. One are called contrails. How many of you know what contrails are? Contrails are what have been around from the ends of planes since World War II. These are very, very short exhaust trails that usually evaporate within a few minutes. You just look up at the sky and you'll just see a jet sometimes with 4 trails, but it evaporates pretty quickly. How many of you know what chemtrails are? Nobody. The military and some commercial planes are spraying us with what are called chemtrails. I want you to look at the, and oftentimes before there's a weather front, there are heavy assaults from these planes just before a weather front is changed and comes in. Military and some commercial jets have been fitted with huge barrels of at least 49 different kinds of documented chemical poisons. Among other documented ingredients in this toxic man-made clouds are pathogenic molds, fungi, weaponized viruses, and made in some places like the secret site at Fort Detrick, Maryland, which is supposed to be a cancer site. But there are a number of scholars and professors tracking this that have big questions about this. Barium and nanoaluminum particles. What do these do to the human body? Barium is an alkaline earth mineral. It was discovered in 1774. At low doses, it can act as a muscle stimulant. At high doses, it detrimentally affects the heart and the nervous system. Barium is toxic to all mammals, and that means not just humans. Aluminum, which is the most abundant metal in the Earth's crust, is known to diminish kidney function and destroy brain cells and cognitive function. Just think about it. Just between the aluminum and the mercury that we're breathing all the time, we've got already a serious issue about brain function and cognitive function. There is also documented evidence that the aluminum in chemtrails is released as nanoparticles, and that when they reach the Earth environment for wildlife, in lakes and streams, it's causing serious problems with wildlife there. Researchers are also finding that nanoparticles interfere with the growth of plants. Nanotechnology is totally unregulated. Just this past month, a new research report came out showing and documenting for the first time that these nanoparticles actually go through the skin. Well, if you breathe them, whether they go through the skin or whether you're inhaling them, it's still a problem, a serious problem.
According to the World Meteorological Organization, 52 countries have a weather modification program.
Increase in snowfall is, a very significant value add to organizations like hydropower companies.
To do that, pilots target clouds full of moisture and eject small amounts of an inert chemical. And what's inside of these guys?
It's a silver iodide mixture. The idea is that we'll be above some liquid water, and as it's falling through, it'll turn into snow, so it can fall out of the cloud.
Since the 1946 experiments of Dr. Vincent Schaefer, we have known that some clouds can be modified through seeding to yield additional precipitation.
It's not as if you guys are creating clouds out of nowhere. You actually target storm systems.
If there's no clouds in the sky that have any moisture in them, then we can't do anything.
Weather Modification International provided the planes. A team of scientists set out into the Idaho mountains with Doppler radars and state-of-the-art weather stations to record what happens on the ground when planes above are cloud seeding.
It's not over. A minute.
And what did you guys find?
The aircraft flies through that, and you can see the ice crystals grow right on the radar, and you can see the snow showers form, and as they pass over the mountain, you can see the snow very visually and conclusively is produced from the cloud seeding aircraft that just flew through that particular cloud and system.
Radar images show how ice crystals formed in the clouds in the exact pattern that Weather Modification's pilots were flying. The long-awaited scientific proof that cloud seeding was working had finally arrived.
Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine.
First MasterCard in the world that is going to show a carbon allowance for every single purchase you buy. And to make sure that everything has a so-called carbon credit, food, when you buy food now, if it's vegan, it's going to show you this nice low score of only 1 kilogram, 1.3 kilograms of CO2 per serving. Now, meat will be off the chart, so that's going to be a no-no. This is how they're going to control where you go,
how you're going to get there, what you can buy, what you can eat, who you can see. And now imagine that in a world without cash.
Okay, I wasn't sure on that one. So I got a 4-minute update on the ICE incident, on the protest. Then I got a camera video one I got off of News Force. Still a lot more to come.
I first want to take you back out there to New Jersey. We've been watching all of this unfold as there have been several protests erupting there outside of the Delaney ICE detention facility in New Jersey. And right now there's an update that an anti-ICE agitator has been charged with biting an ICE officer. And so what we're going to do is continue to give you this update here on Live Now from Fox, as we're also watching very closely this live vantage point that we have there, as officers are now standing off on the other side against some of those protesters who are there outside of the facility. I want to put this up on the screen. This is courtesy of Fox News, giving us a bit more details and pictures about what has occurred here. So what we know, according to Fox, is that an anti-U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agitator has been hit with federal charges. This after those gnarly photos that you see there on your screen are now showing a bloody bite mark after he allegedly made it into federal agents' arms during these violent clashes outside of the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark, New Jersey. And so that person has since been identified as Brendan John Greer. He's a 26-year-old from Madison, New Jersey, who's a part of agitators who were blocking the road near Delaney Hall on Thursday night. This is when ICE deportation officers instructed the group to move out of the way, according to the Department of Justice. He has since been charged again with federal crimes. And Fox News is saying that the group allegedly ignored the commands and instead violently engaged with the officers, according to the DOJ. They say specifically Greer engaged in a struggle with deportation officers, kicking officers and ultimately biting an officer's forearm and another's knuckle. Both victims have since received treatment at a local hospital, according to those prosecutors. So I want to put this back up on your screen. This is the live vantage point that we currently have, as we're now seeing several different factions showing up outside of this Delaney Hall ICE detention facility. There are those who are in favor of this ICE facility and some of President Trump's immigration policies, coming here to counter-protest the protesters who are outside against that ICE facility and don't want this detention facility to be open there in the region. And so we're going to watch and continue to see how all of this is unfolding. But I also want to put this on your screen from Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying this. Today, the Justice Department charged a rider, Brendan John Greer, for allegedly kicking and biting ICE officers at Delaney Hall last night. We will not tolerate the vicious attacks on ICE officers we've seen in New Jersey the last few days. These riots are clearly not, quote, peaceful protests. As you can see from the photos of these horrific wounds, assault a federal officer, you will be held accountable. And so once again, Brendan John Greer has been charged with assaulting federal officers and causing bodily injury and appeared before a U.S. magistrate judge just yesterday. And so we'll continue to keep you updated on this situation, as we've heard from several different sides. Also continuing to monitor these live feeds as they're still coming into our newsroom at this hour, as all of these folks are gathered outside of the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility. So right now, let's take the opportunity to sort of pump up the audio. We do know that, again, viewer discretion is advised at this time, as sometimes these clashes can get a bit more violent here on Live Now from Fox, but we want to bring you this feed live, raw, and unfiltered, so you can also see and hear as it's happening. I do want to warn you ahead of time, we're going to do our best to keep any signage with offensive language off of the screen, but also viewer discretion is advised as we're watching this.
Okay, thanks a lot for sharing that. I don't know how to look that up.
All right, so that's kind of what we were watching here. As you can see, the side that we were just seeing a few seconds before that were some of those anti-ICE protesters there. But on this side, You can even see some of the signage that's there. There are a lot of Make America Great Again hats, gun owners for Trump. So these are those who are in support of this ICE detention facility there in Newark, New Jersey. And so these are sort of anti-ICE protesters clashing with ICE supporters as well. There is a barrier between the two, but we're still seeing and watching as shouting is going back and forth between these two groups who have very different ideologies, all surrounding this detention facility there in Newark, New Jersey. And I want to show you this additional vantage point that we have there. Bear with us because the cameras are moving pretty frequently on the ground here. But there are also officers that we're able to see there at this detention facility as well, and their presence. So again, this camera shot is moving pretty frequently. Just a second ago, you can still see in the top part of this screen all of those officers who are there outside of this detention facility, there to protect it from both sides of these groups now gathering there as well. And so I'm going to put this one back up on your screen, yet another vantage point that we have of these clashes ongoing. Let's see if we are able to lift up the audio and continue to listen in.
Okay, that's an update on that. Let's do the camera video. $18.
Without permission, okay?
Did my voice just give you away?
Shooting pictures?
Video.
I don't want, sorry. What are you guys doing? I just don't want, can you not see, look at their training the cameras.
Well, see, this is how you act.
So before you start filming somebody, it is proper and probably legal to request authorization to be filming somebody.
It's private property, you know. Our off-duty officer is going to come by and just take a look at it. How's it going, guys? Amagansett Press. We are coming to you today from Cherry Creek, Colorado. Let's take a walk. How you doing? Doing good?
What you doing?
Making a little video about your beautiful town here.
Are you?
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's special.
Is this your place?
Well, I just got transferred over here, so I've been here for 3 days.
So they have different locations.
Well, it's actually a part of Goodwill.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
We are the only one of its kind of Goodwill called.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So it's a boutique, and we do just the higher end stuff, and
So the stuff you sell is the stuff that's donated to Goodwill.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. It's just the higher end stuff that gets sent down here, and we have a little boutique.
I didn't even know anything like that existed.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
It's
Nice.
This is my 3rd day here, so and they're planning on opening more. This is kind of this is a success story, and we're seeing how it
Right on.
works out. And everything.
What do they send you around to like straighten everybody out?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Right on. Right on. Aaron, my name's Jason.
Jason, very nice.
Pleasure
If
to
you have any questions or anything, please let me know.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, who
Thank
are
you
you
so
guys
much.
with?
Just us.
Just us?
Yep. We make videos for YouTube about downtown areas.
Nice.
And, put them up.
Cool. Yeah, put our name out there.
Right on.
I love that. Thank
Very
you
cool.
so much.
No, thank you. I
guys have
appreciate
a
you coming out
wonderful
talking to
day.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Have a great day, Aaron. And good luck here.
Thank you. I really
Right on.
appreciate that.
We'll see you next year.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Excuse me, Valentine. Hi.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good.
What was your name?
Sorry?
What's your name?
What's my name?
Oh
Jason.
yeah, Jason. I'm Saf. Yeah. Are you guys recording for the for Starbucks here?
Not for Starbucks. No.
Okay. Yeah, I was just talking to your friend Ben here. So, part of our policy is you guys aren't allowed to record on our property without our permission.
Okay.
So, if you guys want, I can get you the number for the Starbucks media department, and you guys can talk to them. But
Is that something where somebody would be available now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I can give you the phone number and you can talk to them. We just can't let you record our customers or our building without permission. Okay.
Can't record the building? Okay. Can you call them up and ask them? Just let them know I'm out here?
Sure, I can just let them know, but you're not. But you guys aren't allowed to record our customers without their permission or anybody here. So, and like including people who work here.
And what's it? That's Starbucks policy,
Yeah.
I guess? Okay.
Yeah, so I can get you that. I can print out the policy
All right,
for you
I'll
guys.
wait for you. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Okay,
cool.
I'll drive back.
Thanks.
In the meantime, do you guys mind not recording here, please?
Well, I'm going to wait for you.
Yes, I understand. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, no worries.
Yeah, I printed it out for you, and then I put the media hotline for you here, And then this is also my info if you need to email me or anything like that.
Well, what does this say?
So this is the media, photography, and filming requests policy that we have.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if there's anything.
Well, this is to.
Yeah. So
that's to go inside and film inside your store.
So it says like you can't film any people who are like any customers. You can only take recordings of yourself or your immediate party.
Inside the store.
So yeah. So
if I'm outside, then that doesn't apply.
Okay. Well,
I would assume, right?
I don't know, but do you want to take this and you can contact the media?
Well, I've got it on here. Now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I know you introduced yourself earlier.
I'm just a little weirded out by this whole thing. I got to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because you came out and said where I was standing, I was not able to do what I was doing.
Okay.
And now you're kind of agreeing with me that it only applies if I go inside.
That's not what I was saying. And that's not what I'm saying here. So I'm just giving you the information.
So it does.
I'm just giving you the information that I have here and that I said I would give you.
Right.
So.
No, and I appreciate that. I'm just saying, so it does, from your perspective, this covers the sidewalk as well?
I mean, you can reach out to them and see what that says. I'm just kind of going by my understanding of the policies. Okay. Yeah. Do you don't want the information then?
I already have it on the camera.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But okay, great.
Guys,
Well,
okay
feel free to
with
reach
this
out. You
one?
have my email there then. And feel free to reach out to
Well,
me.
we'll be back up there in a minute. I wasn't done, but I just walked away because you weren't coming out.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to make sure I could print this out for you.
I got you. Okay.
Okay, great.
And
yeah.
I'll be back there in a few minutes and finish what I was doing.
Okay. Yeah. If you.
I mean, if you want to call them and ask them, that's up to you.
Okay. So, I hope that you guys have a good day.
You too.
Let us know if you need anything.
Okay.
But given our conversation, no filming of people who are in our store. Okay.
From inside the store, like if I go in your store, you're saying. But if I'm out on the sidewalk, right?
If you are on our property.
Can you show me where your property is so I don't go on your property?
Yeah, I can double check
All right,
with I can double check with the building and see where exactly the property line is if you want to see where that is.
I mean, I could tell you where I think it is.
I mean, I would prefer not to keep engaging with you because I have to work and kind of work.
Oh, okay. So I'll just go back to what I was doing then. Right. Sorry I bothered you.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here.
Make your browser fast.
I don't know if that was any good or not. Yeah. I'll do another one.
An example of two opposing things or thoughts, like the protests happening at an ICE facility in New Jersey. Truth is, there is very little protesting, but there is lots of ranting, raving, and threatening the lives of ICE agents. And now New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill wants to offer the protesters a protection zone. So if common sense is tracking correctly, she wants to protect the people who are threatening to kill ICE agents. And the people who are threatening to kill ICE agents are also fighting to get the illegal immigrants inside the facility released, even though the immigrants inside the facility are convicted, charged, or accused of heinous crimes like murder, rape, robbery. So the protesters are kicking, biting, and punching to free the killers, robbers, and rapers. These are the same protesters who criticize ICE agents for wearing a mask, then get caught on camera saying, quote, "I have your face and now you're dead." Tonight, we're told the protesters will sing "Give Peace a Chance," but you can't have peace without getting violent people off the streets. So common sense would suggest if you want to give peace a chance, you need to give ICE a chance. Let's bring in former senior DHS and DOJ official Gene Hamilton and host of the weekly Rap Sheet, Josh Ritter on Fox Nation. Thank you both for coming on. Gene, to you first. Here's the New Jersey Governor, Mikey Sherrill, shifting the blame as she is wont to do to ICE. Watch.
We know what ICE has done in other states, and we know American citizens lost their lives. For that reason, New Jersey law enforcement is today establishing a peaceful, protected protest zone in the area right outside Delaney Hall. My administration will be working together with community members, faith leaders, advocates, and state police to help people move there today.
I mean, Gene, the truth is we hear this in every blue state across the country, right? When they have problems with ICE agents, it's disregard the death threats and the agents are the evil ones. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, look, you made a really great point. The people who are in this detention center are folks, for the most part, who have serious convictions or who have serious charges for criminal offenses, who are facing deportation from the United States. These people don't care about the conditions inside that facility. These agitators are violent Marxists employing tactics that we have seen across the world for the last 200 years, every time that they want to get their way. So they're trying to provoke, they're trying to agitate, they're trying to do things to cause a response. And of course, the local officials are taking the side of the Marxists, of the agitators. And if they actually cared about the conditions inside, and if there's actually a problem with, like, say, as they do the congressmen who are there, the food quality, what they would do is they would put a food truck, a taco truck, out there and volunteer to give it to the people inside of the facility. But that's not what they're doing. Instead, these paid protesters, these paid agitators and rioters are the ones who are showing up.
Yeah. Meantime, you have an ICE protester. We want to play the sound of this. We've heard it a lot, but it's worth playing again, followed by the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, talking about banning masks. Watch.
Kill your whole family! Your whole family's dead! Come on! Children, your wife, all dead! Punch it! My boy! I have your face, mother! You're dead! Dead!
No longer in the state of New York will you be allowed to wear masks as a technique of intimidation.
Here we go. That they're the intimidators, Josh, right? That's the whole thing. It's just like we see in all these blue states. It's the ICE, it's law enforcement that are the intimidators.
Right. It's one thing, and we're used to it now, to see these progressive politicians upside down and backwards on a lot of these issues. But it's quite another thing when you're putting lives at risk, police officers' lives at risk. And make no mistake, that's exactly what these types of decisions and these laws are doing. They're wearing those masks because they're trying to protect themselves and protect their families, by the way, because we live in a world where it's not just one thing to go out and commit acts of violence in these riots, these slash quote unquote protests. Right? They want to go further than that and expose who they are, dox them online, and commit acts of violence, or at least threaten acts of violence against their own families. And this governor is standing in support of that.
Yeah. Meantime, you have a convicted killer, an active gang member who was sentenced to 50 years for murder here in California. He was let out last year, and apparently he was on the Los Angeles City payroll to be a peace ambassador. The U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley for the Central District says a convicted murderer whom law enforcement believes is an active member of the 18th Street gang, while being paid with City of L.A. funds to work as a peace ambassador, was arrested today on federal criminal complaint charging him with illegally possessing 2 body armor plates near the city's drug and crime-infested MacArthur Park. I mean, let's have the killer be the peace ambassador here. It's kind of the same theme as the ICE agents, right? The protesters, yeah, just let them go, and the ICE agents will get blamed for everything. What do you think about this, Gene?
Look, I mean, this is part and parcel for the leadership out in California, at the city and at the state level. They have no checks in place to check against fraud. And in fact, the very people that they're giving government funds to in many of these cases are fraudsters or convicted criminals, as we have here. This is not an example, apparently, of somebody who's had a change of heart. If you look at what the Department of Justice has alleged, this is not somebody who's had a complete life revolution while they were in jail. This is a person who is now out on the streets and re-engaging in the same types, apparently, of activities that were associated with MS with MS the
18th Street gang,
the
18th Street gang.
Right, the 18th Street gang, and you know, on the government dole the entire time.
Yep.
I mean, this is exactly the type of thing that you would see out of the state of California these days.
Yeah. Meantime, Florida is now doing these roadside stings, Josh. I mean, they're letting the criminal illegal immigrants and they're hitting them. And Governor DeSantis said the following here. Watch.
We've also done Operation Criminal Return, 10-day operation between FDLE and DHS targeting illegal aliens who are sex offenders, career criminals, and other serious offenders. That led to 230 arrests. I mean, if you're a legal alien and a convicted criminal alien, What possible basis could there be for anyone to object to that?
Josh, you know there's always going to be somebody who's going to object. You object to that. Your final thoughts on this?
It's not over.
Yeah, he was really setting him up. What possibly could be the objection? Sex offenders, people who've committed crimes of violence, and you're removing them, and they're already here illegally. Where is the argument, the counter argument built into all of that? He makes an excellent point, and he puts it so well. Full support of it.
Yeah, Josh, Gene, thank you both. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Okay. New York news again. I got 2 photos I'm going to read here before the next video. Here's another photo on the bill. We showed one yesterday. Here's another one. And get to the next one. So, why is Omar born in Somalia? J.A. Powell born in India. I don't want to read all that. You guys can read it. We got a short one coming up with Scott Baio. You guys remember him? About 5 minutes.
First of all, I don't think in the history of mankind, since we have been speaking, using words, the words "my neighbor with a uterus" has ever been put in that order before. That is, these people are crazy.
Laurie.
Well, you know, Jesse, I live in Florida, right? I left that crazy place, and here's what I think.
Like everybody
I
else
think
did.
Spencer Pratt, who, yeah, exactly right. Good to see you, by the way.
You too.
Thank you. I think he has a shot to win this, but I don't think they're going to let him win. I don't know how anybody goes against that California political machine and wins.
When you say they're not going to let him win, you don't think the vote is going to be copacetic?
Whatever they have to do, there is no way and this is my opinion, and call me a conspiracy nut. I don't think anybody can beat Bass or Tom Steyer. And I love Steve Hilton and I love Spencer Pratt, but they will do whatever to keep these guys out, because I don't think they can't stop the money train. They can't stop it. There's too much money being thrown around in that.
That's such a good point, because they're just paying everybody off with homeless money and fire money. And that gravy train can't stop. And if he goes in there and looks under the hood, people should be behind bars. But listen, Trump won. He came back. He won it. It was too big to rig. Does that what Spencer has to do?
I got to tell you, man, I hope so. I hope he wins, because Southern California,
everybody like
Los
that
Angeles,
Spencer guy?
was one of the great cities on the planet, and it's a hellscape, and it's unfortunate. But if he wins it by a lot, then he's got a shot. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've got 90%, maybe more, of the politicians in California are liberal Democrats. I don't know how you defeat that, but I pray to God that he wins.
We all do. Those of us who believe in God and believe in California and its great promise. Jill Biden,
right,
coming out of hibernation with a book, couple mil advance, I'm sure, saying she thought Joe was either on drugs or had a stroke on debate night. Is it you buying that?
No. I believe that she's covering her rear end on this. For 4 years, we knew. Everybody on the planet knew the guy was going. She's just saying that, I think, because now she has plausible deniability. Oh, he was fine before, but that night, I don't know what the hell happened to him. And then afterward, he was fine again. Did they drug him? I think the good doctor does not want to give up the limelight. I really don't. I think that's why she pushed that poor old man to keep running. I mean, giving up the big plane, Jesse, is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
The trappings of power. Once you get a fix, it's very hard. That's why people like Maxine Waters are like 108 and they're still in Congress. It's like the free cars, the free food, the free gym, the free everything.
God bless her.
God bless her. No relation.
Oh my God.
Scott, we got to
Yes, I
run.
know that.
It was good to see you. And
Yes,
we'll see you down in Florida soon. All right. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the fun.
Another good interview. Okay, Billy Bean, 18 minutes, you guys.
Time in Texas about 1 p.m. A flash update. And thanks for like, subscribe, and share. And some of the things we'll cover. The U.S. military warns the Middle East regarding the Strait of Hormuz this weekend, implying the U.S. mil could go hot there in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump, the U.S. military and midterms. Let's see what that's about. And Mexico, in the process of changing their constitution to allow the cartels to remain in power, with Mexico giving up elections. And we have this. We just had this morning a China military move and operation against a NATO warship operating in international waters. So that's going on. So let's get started. I had a Patriot subscriber talking about, in my last video, I put out the U.S. Scott Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, was bringing sanctions not only against Iran for trying to collect tolls in the Strait of Hormuz, but also the U.S. will sanction any nation paying the toll. So that's going on. And we have this. So my Patriot subscriber says, I think the sanctions are a good idea regarding Iran charging tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. And in the center, we know it's international water. Iran only owns one side of the Strait of Hormuz, with UAE and Oman owning the other half. But hey, recall about 7 to 10 days ago, Iran said, hey, to the world, we not only own our half of the Strait of Hormuz territorial waters, but Iran now owns the territorial waters of the UAE and Oman, and also their ports. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Not only is this group in charge in Iran psychopaths, I mean, they're just out and out living in a fantasy world. Yeah, we a nation, we can decide which territorial waters we own. Iran, shut up. I have this,
Carol, you
and
hear
I'd like
that?
to say
Or,
thank you
hey.
for additional support of my channel, Modern Ronin 235. And we have this. I had a Patriot subscriber saying, what's up with this E15? So E15 is a new gasoline blend. The EPA and the Department of Energy is putting in place as of March 25, 2026. It's just a different blend of gasoline and ethanol to ease a U.S. supply chain of gasoline before the summer when we know driving increases. So it's just a new blend of gasoline. I have this from a Patriot subscriber. So I had in my last video, Patriot subscribers just laugh out loud because they put forth, yeah, I love your site, but I'm going to have Snoops do the fact checking. So just a joke. My another Patriot subscriber says, Snoops is owned and operated by Soros. And we recall Snoops said that the COVID scamdemic was true. And look what happened to 17 million people believed to have passed away in the U.S. from the so-called COVID vaccine. Yes, I recall that. I kept reporting on it. YouTube kept slapping me around with strikes. Okay, AccuWeather brings this out near British Columbia along the northwest corner of the U.S., British Columbia. We have developing a large whirlpool. We're also seeing in many places sinkholes develop. And we saw the miners in Laos being rescued over the weekend. We also saw a catastrophic mining accident take place in China with 90 dead. Now, it's my perception that we're going to see an increase in sinkholes. We're going to see an increase in mining and spelunker or caving explorations, because underneath the earth, as God said in the fall of 2020, magma is rising all over the earth in all directions. I submit we do have earth changes going on. And we had recently a sinkhole develop in one of the runways at LaGuardia Airport in New York. So this is going on. And so now we have this whirlpool developing near British Columbia and northwest U.S. in the ocean. And we have this, a late snow as predicted in Utah, Wasatch Range, over according to Newsweek. And we have from Space Weather, NASA, today we'll have a G1 geomagnetic storm due to a CME grazing the Earth. And in May, we'll have what's called a blue moon, which simply means 2 full moons in 1 month. And it's called a blue moon because back in the 1800s, when it was first noticed, there were certain particles in the air from volcanoes that made the moon appear blue. But a blue moon simply refers to 2 full moons in 1 month. And we'll have another full moon tonight. We have this in South Carolina. So we've seen President Trump when, with all the people he's endorsing in the primaries. And now in South Carolina, President Trump is endorsing Republican Lieutenant Governor Yvette, who's running for governor, and he is bypassing Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She's currently serving in the Congress. She's running for governor of South Carolina. He's bypassing Nancy because Nancy voted against President Trump and the J6 event. So, way to go, President Trump. When an enemy identifies themselves, then put that on your playboard so that in the future you know where to smack. So that's going on. We have this from Real Raw News. The U.S. military cybersecurity has on audio 7 Dems planning to cheat in Texas to somehow get an unelectable Tallarico, the Dem running for a Senate position against Ken Paxton. And we know Ken Paxton was recently endorsed by President Trump. So it appears the plan is for the Dems to bus in illegals to vote in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Travis County. But hey, the U.S. military is aware of this illegal plan by the Dems. So most likely we could have the U.S. military or some other government agency undercover. Way to go, President Trump. We have this from a Patriot subscriber. Oh, yeah, I just heard about this. This is going to require some more investigation as to why. So, the Pentagon put forth some type of legislation. This is going through Congress, Section 224. That in 2027, next year, would incorporate Israel's IDF, Israel's Defense Force, into the U.S. military. Section 224, National Defense Authorization Act. Well, for me, I need to know more about this. I have a Patriot subscriber who's said, what's up with this? We have this from Japan. So we know what's going on in Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is choking many nations' supply of crude oil, gasoline, diesel, and so on. Japan imports 90% of their crude oil from the Middle East. Japan's supply of gasoline, diesel, and so on has fallen 66% in the past month. This is according to Zero Hedge. It's the lowest level in Japan since 1979. And of course, this would constitute for Japan a security issue. Japan is currently using supplies from its own strategic reserves. So that's going on. And we have this, U.S. Intel. So we had May 29, yesterday, CENTCOM warning in the Strait of Hormuz, the Persian Gulf, to all ships in that area that the U.S. military prepped to commence hot operations, and that the U.S. military is moving against Iran, who is engaging in dangerous and illegal moves in the Strait of Hormuz, including mining, and that the U.S. military will take down any boats or ships it sees engaged in mining. Way to go, President Trump. We have this about China. China this morning engaged in a full Chinese military move against a NATO warship operating in international waters. This morning, China used Chinese warships, Chinese J-16 fighter jets, and Chinese electronic jamming to push a NATO warship from the Netherlands named the De Ruyter, to push the NATO warship out of international waters located near the South China Sea. So I guess China is like Iran, now dictating to the world, oh, China owns all these international waters. We'll tell any warship or any commercial ship, get out. China owns the international waters around China. Just like Iran says, Iran owns the international waters in the Strait of Hormuz. So we can say collectively to Iran and China, shut up. And we have this from Breitbart. The cartels in Mexico foresee 4 years ahead to the election of 2030 that the cartel's political party, Morena, apparently is not going to be in power in 4 years. So the cartel's Morena party, now in the Mexican Congress, is going to change the Mexican Constitution, alleging 4 years in the future for the 2030 election that there could be foreign interference. So the cartel's political party, Morena, 4 years in advance of an event, apparently they have psychics, is now going to change the Mexican Constitution and put this forth, that if the cartel political party Morena thinks that there is any foreign interference at any time in any election in Mexico, well, the cartel political party Morena can just do away with elections. So we got this to say to the Mexican political party Morena, cartel operated, shut up. So that concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
At Michigan.
Kay's favorite word when Billy says that. Okay, we moving right along here. He hasn't called me yet, so try to make it to 2:30. 2:30, maybe longer. But I'll be back sometime tonight. I'm not sure when. Hey, I got two of the report guy. One with Bozzy the other day. Six minutes.
Piece of rock for a long time, much longer than we can imagine. We're going to find out there are ET tech that's been reverse engineered and flown by US pilots for a long time. We're going to find out a whole bunch of things, but he intelligently said, hey, I'll release the files and you can make up your own mind. Now, is everything going to come out at once? No, of course not. It'll come out at a rate that is digestible. Was the Nazi scientists that created the V1, V2 rockets that were hitting London during World War II. And he was part of Operation Paperclip, like many other Nazis that were allowed into the US and then used to advance US-based cabal operations. Not US operations, US-based cabal. Like Heinrich Müller, head of the Gestapo, apparently, allegedly died. No, he was recruited in Switzerland and came to the US and worked as part of Operation Paperclip to advance cabal-based ops in the US. And so Werner von Braun told his secretary, the last thing that we'll do will be, the last thing that will happen will be a fake alien invasion, and they're going to be that'll be the last move of the cabal. And so that's out there. So what DJT is doing here, he's getting ahead of the curve. He's taking control, as they have done consistently from the beginning. They know what the narrative was going to be, the cabal-led narrative, and they jumped in front at every turn and then directed it to their favor. This is exactly that. They know that the cabal was planning the fake alien invasion. And what's DJT? He's actually got himself in the picture. This is brilliant. I love it. Whoever composed the shot's brilliant. He's got himself in the picture with this very, sort of buff-looking alien. But the buff-looking alien is in chains. So what's the message there? DJT's in control of the whole ET issue. And they don't like being called aliens. They like being called ETs. So we got the image here is that DJT is in charge of the entire ET issue, which is a com to the remaining blackouts saying we are really out. I mean, not only did we lose the money, we've even lost our last move, which is going to be the alien ET card. And so that's all it is. It's just a continuation of the same procedure they have used for many years now. Know what the adversary is going to do, get a hold of it, jump in front of it, lead it in the direction they want, and make sure that they can minimize any downside that was intended by blackouts. And this is the same. And we're going to find out there are extraterrestrials. We are going to find out that they've been on this piece of rock for a long, long time. Much longer than we can imagine. We're going to find out there are ET tech that's been reverse engineered and flown by US pilots for a long time. We're going to find out a whole bunch of things, but he intelligently said, hey, I'll release the files and you can make up your own mind. Now, is everything going to come out at once? No, of course not. It'll come out at a rate that is digestible. Now, what do I mean by that? Just the existence of other life forms will be difficult for a lot of fundamentalist religions, Christians included, but not just Christians, because they view anything that's not of this earth as it's either demonic or angelic, and there's nothing in between. And so they've got to make sure that what isn't made available is not going to destabilize these very key groups too quickly. Over time, as people pass, and we're talking generations now, as generations pass, and the younger generations that grew up with the idea, they're not so challenged. The older generations, they're going to find some difficulty. As they pass, more and more come out. This will happen over decades, and eventually, maybe in 100 years, so what's that, 4 or 5 generations, more and more truth will have come out. A lot's going to come out. Enough's going to come out to shake people. But there's a lot that needs to be held back. But that's what's going on here.
That was a short one on Ricardo and that one guy. So I just found a 10-minute one, Triangle. Let me know on this one, please. But not sure. Looks like it's a good one, important one to play.
Chapters. You probably think you know the story of the Antichrist. He's an evil guy that comes at the end of time, rules the world for a bit, and is defeated by Jesus. But what if I told you that this is just scratching the surface? What if I told you that the Bible paints a complete picture of his entire rule and reign? A fragmented picture, with pieces scattered all throughout Scripture, and very few Christians have ever pieced it together. His unearthly rise to power, his war against the great harlot, his staged death and resurrection, his mark of the beast economy, his betrayal of Israel, and his final destruction at the return of Christ. In this story, many things you have read hundreds of times will finally make sense. Chapter 1. The Rise from the Abyss. Our story begins in a world drowning in chaos, wars brewing across the globe, moral corruption stretching from coast to coast. The greatest sinner of them all seems to be the empire ruling the world. They have turned countless souls against God and exploited entire nations to expand their wealth. One nation in particular, resembling a beast, is responsible for much of this empire's rise. This great harlot rides on the back of a beast, a haunting picture of Mediterranean and Middle Eastern kingdoms working together. But the harlot has made a fatal mistake. The dog is beginning to turn against its master. A secret council of 10 leaders, tired of the yoke placed upon them, prepare for war. But another scheme is already underway. Standing on the shore of the sea, Satan calls forth a spirit from the abyss. He who was once hidden is now ready to make his grand entrance. Chapter 2. The Unholy Trinity. He takes the form of a man. Let us call him Cornicula. Through cunning political moves, he brings down 3 of the 10 kings ruling the beast's kingdom. Though he is the smallest among them, he succeeds them and gains the loyalty of the remaining 7. He promises them a great victory over the harlot. But first, he must take the reins of the beast for himself. The Middle East is in turmoil. Israel stands at war with the nations surrounding her. So how does Cornicula calm a region that has been at war for thousands of years? He offers something supernatural, something that could unite the religions of the region behind one figure. And what better way to begin a new religion than with a miracle? All he needs is a miracle worker. Calling him out from the earth, Cornicula summons a fellow spirit, a man who can wow a crowd, perform wonders, and speak with power. Together they form an unholy trinity, Satan working in the shadows, the false prophet drawing the masses in reverent submission, and Cornicula himself, the so-called savior of the world. The false prophet enchants the nations with his wonders, even calling fire down from the sky in full view of humanity. Chapter 3. The 7-Year Treaty. After much spectacle, a 7-year treaty is signed between Israel and her neighboring nations. The temple is allowed to be rebuilt, and the Jews resume their sacrifices to Yahweh in Jerusalem. Cornicula promises divine judgment on the harlot who has ridden the beast for so long. The harlot is still rich, still drunk, still full of corruption. The empire of the beast is ready for war. She is far more vulnerable than she believes. Her fortune rests on a fragile economic system. After targeted strikes and underhanded tactics, the world watches her fall. An angel appears from heaven with such splendor that the earth itself is illuminated. Fallen is Babylon the Great. People grew rich from partying with her, but the party has been shut down. As she dies, those who built their fortunes on her weep over the smoke of her destruction. The global economy collapses in a single hour. No trade, no music, no light. Chapter 4. The Resurrection of the Beast. Enraged about their lost fortunes, the surviving elites organize an assassination attempt against Cornicula. The world watches in horror as a shot rings through the air. The leader of the beast falls. Supporters across the globe mourn his death, but his story does not end there. Not long after, Cornicula emerges again, alive, unharmed, stronger than ever. A visible scar where the fatal wound once was. He has been raised from the dead. His prophet celebrates the recovery and presents it to the world as the ultimate miracle. Where there was once respect for Cornicula, there is now something else. The world has gone from respecting him to worshiping him. Chapter 5. The Mark of the Beast. The collapse of Babylon shattered the global economy. So Cornicula enacts his next strategy. A new economy, a new system. One where he has complete control. An image is created in his honor. The false prophet performs a wonder that gives the image a voice. With its voice, it commands every inhabitant of the world to worship the image of Cornicula. Anyone who does not show allegiance will face severe consequences. The lifeblood of this new world comes in the form of a new currency. To participate, every person must receive a mark on their wrist or on their forehead, a sign of total allegiance. A mysterious number, 666, is used to identify those who serve the Empire, a number inseparable from his rule. Chapter 6. The throne in the temple. He had conquered every god before him. Now it was time to confront the God of the Jews. The image of the beast is set up in the holiest of holies, the very place where the God of Israel was once worshipped. For 3.5 years, the Jews had sacrificed to Yahweh in their rebuilt temple, the first half of the 7-year treaty. But now their worship shifts. Cornicula has done everything they hoped their Messiah would do. He brought peace. He defeated their enemies. So instead of sacrificing to Yahweh, they begin sacrificing to Cornicula. He has set himself up not just as a leader, not just as a conqueror, but as a god above gods. The Jewish people have embraced their counterfeit Messiah. Chapter 7. The two witnesses. In this land where he enjoys absolute power, two figures arise who become a thorn in his side. Two witnesses speak against the treaty, against his government, and against Cornicula himself. They warn the Jewish people to return to their true God. They proclaim that the one they now worship is an antichrist. These men are no ordinary men. Every force sent to silence them is consumed by fire from heaven. They shut up the sky so it does not rain. They turn rivers into blood. Furious, Cornicula takes matters into his own hands. Their bodies are displayed in the streets for all to see. For 3.5 days, nations exchange gifts in celebration of their deaths. But the witnesses are not finished. The breath of the living God revives them. A voice from heaven calls them upward. They ascend into the clouds while their enemies look on in terror. A severe earthquake shakes the city. Doubt creeps in. Is Cornicula truly the Messiah? Knowing he must act fast, he declares war on the Jewish people. 3.5 years into the treaty he himself established, he betrays them. Chapter 8. The Return of the King. As a final show of strength, he gathers all the armies of the world. Each member of the unholy trinity produces from their mouth a spirit in the form of a frog. These spirits go out to the kings of the earth and gather them for battle. The location, Armageddon. For 42 months, the Jewish nation experiences defeat after defeat. Their total destruction draws near. Then the ground begins to shake. An earthquake erupts, splitting the ground in two. The true Messiah has come. His feet touch down on the Mount of Olives, the very place he took his last steps as a man. The mountain splits in two at the touch of his foot. Jesus is back. His first coming was as a suffering savior. His second is as the righteous judge. The sky is filled with millions of warriors clothed in white. Led by a man with unimaginable power, the kings of the earth turn to face their creator in battle. The slaughter is swift and final. Years of plotting, undone in a single moment. Not a single person in his army survives. Cornicula and the false prophet are brought as prisoners before the King of Kings. They are thrown alive into the lake of fire. Satan himself is apprehended and taken away to face his own judgment. No man was as powerful as Cornicula. He had everything: money, status, power, even worship. He was treated like a god and viewed himself as the savior of the world. But here is the unsettling truth. We often carry the same view of ourselves. Whenever we act on our own morality, against the word of God, we are quietly saying we would make a better God than God himself. There is only one solution: a complete surrender to the true Savior. Jesus bled and died on a cross so that we would not be swept away in the tribulation, so that we would be granted new heavenly bodies and an invitation into his eternal kingdom. God has set the time when Christ will return. Until then, he is holding the door open. If that is you, talk to him. Open your heart in prayer. Reach out to Jesus, and you will be welcomed. If you would like to continue on this Christian journey, let me point you to this video next, here on Daily Faith Ministry. And if you believe God placed this video in your path, don't ignore that feeling. If Daily Faith has encouraged you, if these messages have helped you feel closer to God, if they have strengthened your faith in difficult moments, then you can help this mission reach even more lives. When you join our Patreon family, you help us keep sharing God's word, hope, and encouragement every single day with people around the world who may need it more than you know. Some people will scroll past this, but others will understand that this is their moment to give, to help, and to be part of something bigger. If that is you, click the Patreon link in our bio.
Okay, I hope that one was an important one. I got 2 more short ones similar to that triangle. So if you judge on that, these next 2. Thanks, Angie. Yeah, I got a couple more.
This is the hardest part. This is the part where you have to hold the funeral. To become the person who scares them, you have to kill the person you used to be. You have to kill the version of you that needs to be liked. You have to kill the version of you that apologizes for having ambition. You have to look at your past, your mistakes, your trauma, your embarrassments, and you have to close the door. Machiavelli said, "There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others." You are at war with your past self. If you do not kill him, he will kill your future. He will drag you back into the old habits. He will whisper in your ear when things get hard. Just take a break. Just one drink. Just skip today. You must be ruthless. You are shedding a skin. It is painful. It leaves you raw, but it is the only way to grow. You might lose friends. You might lose a partner. You might be misunderstood by your family. This is the tax you pay for greatness. Do not complain about the tax. Just pay it. Because on the other side of that, death is a rebirth. A version of you that is leaner, meaner, and faster. A version of you that operates on logic, not emotion. A version of you that sees the world as a chessboard, not a playground. This new you is scary. He scares you a little bit, doesn't he?
4 minutes.
He should. Power is always frightening.
Not the
And
last
you are
video,
building
but one more
power.
of these.
Not power over others. That is tyranny. But power over yourself. That is majesty. When you walk into a room with total self-control, you vibrate at a different frequency. People yield the right of way. They don't know why, but they know you are not to be trifled with. You have that look. The look of a man who has seen the abyss and walked through it. The look of a man who has conquered his own mind. There is no greater victory. As the Stoics knew, as Machiavelli knew, the man who conquers himself is greater than the man who conquers a city. So, what happens when you commit to this? When you truly become this disciplined? The noise stops. The anxiety that has buzzed in the background of your life for years, it goes quiet. Because anxiety comes from knowing you are unprepared. It comes from knowing you are lying to yourself. When you are disciplined, you have nothing to hide. You know who you are. You know what you are capable of. You stop fearing the future because you are building it. You stop fearing other people because you know they cannot outwork you. You stop fearing failure because you know that failure is just data for the next attempt. You become free. But it is a cold freedom. It is a lonely freedom. It is the freedom of the wolf on the hill, looking down at the sheep in the pen. They are warm. They are safe. They are fed. But they are trapped. You are out in the cold. You are hungry, but you are free. And that is the choice you have to make today. Do you want the warmth of the herd or the power of the hunt? You cannot have both. Machiavelli wrote his philosophy in exile. He was stripped of his status, tortured and cast out. And in that darkness, he wrote the words that would change the world. He didn't need the applause. He needed the truth. Your discipline is your truth. It is the only thing that is yours. They can take your money. They can take your job. They can take your reputation. But they cannot take your discipline. They cannot take your ability to endure. That is your fortress. That is your throne. Listen to me. The world is getting softer. The world is getting louder. The world is getting more chaotic. This is your advantage. While they get weaker, you get harder. While they get distracted, you get focused. While they seek comfort, you seek the edge. You are going to scare them. Not because you are trying to, but because you are a mirror reflecting everything they are too cowardly to become. Let them stare, let them whisper, let them fear. You have work to do. The path is cold, the path is steep, and you must walk it alone. But now, you are ready. If you have made it this far, you are part of the 0.01%. You are the outlier. Prove it. Comment below, I choose the cold path. And if you want to continue this descent into the...
Got one more 4-minute one there on this.
Terrifying and glorious. Today, we journey through the celestial hierarchy. We begin with Sariel. His name is profound, Sariel, meaning command of God. His primary work is the oversight of spirits who have strayed and the protection of heavenly order. He is depicted as a guardian of sacred boundaries, ensuring the purity of God's dominion. Next, we encounter Raguel, whose name, Raguel, translates to friend of God or vengeance of God. His crucial work is the supervision of the luminaries and the punishment of rebellious angels. He is the cosmic arbiter, ensuring divine justice and harmony among the heavenly host. Third is Phanuel, meaning the face of God. He is known as the angel of repentance, hope, and healing. His work involves driving away accusers and interceding for humanity, guiding souls towards divine light and redemption. Uriel, whose name can mean God is my light or fire of God, holds dominion over the world and the deepest abysses. His work is the illumination of truth, the governance of celestial bodies, and the guardianship of the condemned spirits. He is the searing light that exposes all hidden things. The fifth is Raphael, whose beautiful name means God heals. He is intimately connected with the healing of the earth, the restoration of humanity, and the binding of demonic forces. Ancient narratives depict him as the one who brings divine medicine and solace. Second to last, we come to Gabriel. His powerful name, Gabriel, signifies God is my strength. He is the paramount divine messenger, not just delivering words, but revealing prophetic visions and God's sovereign plans for nations and individuals. From the prophet Daniel to the mother of Christ, his appearance heralds monumental events. Finally, the most renowned, Michael. His name, Mikael, is a defiant question. Who is like God? He is the Prince of Israel, the Archangel of War, and the Commander of the heavenly host. His ultimate work is the defense of God's people against all cosmic evil and the execution of divine judgment in the final great conflict. From Sariel to Michael, these 7 archangels paint a picture of God's celestial power, far beyond our common imagination. Their forms, their names, and their work reveal a universe managed by divine will. If this journey through ancient texts and divine descriptions has deepened your faith, then subscribe for more biblical exposition that challenges the conventional. Join our community as we uncover more mysteries of the Word.
Okay. I don't normally play those ones. So that's why I asked whoever the safe play. I just got one off of News Force 5 minutes. God, there's so much good videos to share you guys today. A lot of good ones. This is 9 minutes. News Force off. Denver. Talk about Denver Airport.
Okay, first of all, tell us what are we looking at here?
Looking at a diagram of the Denver International Airport. We're looking at a diagram of the Denver International Airport. It's just a rough drawing that I drew when I was working out there. What you have here is the east gate entrance into the terminal area of the new DIA, and then the runways, the main runways, of course, in here. And then approximately 2.5 to 3 miles away from the large Teflon dome terminal, the other terminal, are a set of tunnels, underground tunnels, approximately 16 feet by 12 feet. They're square tunnels. They were supposedly to be used for sewer and water.
This just came out on News Corp.
But the tunnels are square, and there's no water stop or anything like that that would be used in a tunnel to carry water. These tunnels were broken down into sections.
How many?
Approximately 5 to 6 sections per tunnel, coming from the main terminals to this set of 5 buildings that are constructed underground.
Okay. Let me ask you something here. We're talking about tunnels, 2 tunnels. The length is about 2.5 to 3 miles. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
How deep into the ground are these tunnels, would you say?
I would say approximately 25 to 30 feet down.
And okay, once you are in the tunnel, how wide, how high, how
you guys think of this
do you
one?
have
This
in
big
there? How
news
big
here.
are they?
The tunnels themselves
Especially
are
if it's
12
on
foot
News
tall
Corp.
by 16 feet wide, and they're just a rectangular formed tunnel, and they're all the same size.
Okay. What usage would people give to these tunnels, especially at an airport?
We used to use them to walk through, and we used to put forklifts and other machinery down there to transport tools and such thing materials.
Can you feed the truck in there?
Oh yeah, you could fit a bus in there if you wanted to. You could fit a small special made bus. We made jokes while we were building these things out here, the set of buildings that I worked on, in which the tunnel's tied to, about how they could go from tunnel to tunnel with little bus loads of people all the way around the whole area.
Okay, well, now tell us about those 5 buildings you have there outlined.
The 5 buildings we have all have intersecting tunnels that go between them and then tie into the main terminal areas.
Okay, what's the purpose for these
No,
buildings?
not the. Well, I don't know if you said that or not.
Why these people,
It's at the
decided
Denver
to build
Airport. I'm not
something
sure.
underground? And how deep are they? First of all,
they range anywhere from 60 feet deep to 120 feet deep. These 5 buildings do.
Is this some kind of a storage facility, or?
We were told it was for sewer and for water waste out in the east area, these buildings, but they weren't constructed in that order, in that manner to carry water. They have, and whenever you construct concrete buildings underground to hold water, you use water stop and Teflon coated rebar and a lot of other type materials. Instead we had no water stop, no Teflon type.
Let's hold on a second. Okay, let's continue here. You were saying that they told you these were for water?
For water and for sewer and sanitary waste and treatment out in here is what they said these buildings were all for. And they said that the tunnels that were coming over from the main terminals were going to be carrying the water and the sewer waste from the terminals out to these small buildings.
Okay. Now, this is a very important question here. I don't know if you want to tell us what construction company was in charge of this project, of the building of the tunnels, or the work being done in the tunnels and in these buildings underground.
These tunnels were split up between different companies. Not one company got more than one section of this tunnel.
Why do you think that is?
My reason is because they would start to get an overall picture of what they were really constructing across here. On most jobs this size, once a company is set up and sets up one section of tunnel, then they're already in progress of going all the way across. So it's easier for them to go ahead and continue with the contract all the way through than to bring in another company on each section. And it's very, very peculiar that they would be split up in that many sections with that many different types of companies doing the work.
So this was, in your opinion, doing on purpose, so the companies of the people working there would not know what was going on.
Nobody would know what was going on through here. Nobody would be able to get an overall picture of what was happening. The company that did all of these buildings out here didn't get any of these tunnel contracts.
Okay. Another question, besides what you...
The top of all of these two long runways. But when we were working on these buildings, we saw them covering up these runways out here, and we asked questions what was going on with these runways. They said they poured them in the wrong place.
Huh.
But how can you miss runways by 2 miles?
That's a good question.
2 to 3 miles, how can you miss runways? Usually, when something is poured in the wrong place, it's also R&R. That means it's taken out of the ground. You don't bury it. You don't bury mistakes.
So they buried these.
These were buried with a 4-inch cap of dirt along with these buildings here. And it looks like to me, from what I can tell, the beginning of these runways from there to these buildings here is approximately half a mile. In my opinion, I think the large amounts of people would be coming in on these runways.
Right, they come to the
airport. Water takes control. Once the money system fails, which you're starting to see around the world everywhere, the last place to fall will be the United States. That's the last place that they'll have to take people. They have too many radicals here with guns, patriots, freedom fighters, and such. And we'll bring them into the center point, which is the center point of the United States, can go to Europe, can go to the Middle East.
Okay.
Point here, they can bring them in, shuttle them over to the distribution center, shuttle them over to the other 2 runways, and send them off to whatever concentration camp for permanent keeping, such as Alaska, Montana.
Do you think that there is more construction underground at the new Denver International Airport?
There's an area to the south of this, which is also approximately 2.5 to 3 miles away from the main runway and DIA Teflon Dome terminal, where there was a lot of activity going on. They were always driving up so much dust and dirt out here, we couldn't see exactly what each other was doing at much time. We couldn't see much more than 100 yards ahead of us because of the dirt and the dust out there. But there were men working out here for a long time, I'd say 2 years, with heavy amounts of dirt up on the bank. That means they were deep down into the ground doing work out there. Now this area is covered completely. There's nothing to be shown out there. It's been restored to its natural look, just like this area out in here was.
What do you have on the surface where those 5 buildings are?
Dirt.
What's there?
Dirt. Right now there's just dirt, and now it's got grass and sage started to grow back up on all of this area out here. They put enough topsoil on top of everything to where you cannot see it from the air.
Can we say that some kind of secret task force that belongs to the government is behind all of this planning, construction, and a secret...
Oh, that was a big one there. I'm glad I went over. I keep an eye on News Force because the News Force on Telegram gives out good stuff. I got another new Benny video. We'll go to the 3-hour mark. Well, I'm going to play this real quick from the other day. Did you guys hear about this? I don't understand.
He claims that the bus driver did not speak English, which is against federal law. Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the latest. Madeline.
Good morning, Kaylee. Virginia State Police say they're looking into the bus driver's actions before the crash. This was a tragic incident that took place overnight Friday. Authorities say a bus failed to slow down as it was approaching a work zone in Stafford County, and it hit several cars. They say 3 adults and 2 children, a 13-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy, were killed. At least 44 people were taken to local hospitals, 3 of them with critical injuries. The bus was operated by E&P Travel. It was heading from New York City to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, federal investigators are looking into New York licensing records, training documentation, and the driver's history after transporting Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy revealed this on X. He says, per local police, the driver was a man who came from China, who became a U.S. citizen and doesn't speak English. He received his commercial driver's license from New York State in 2024. We have reached out to local police to confirm the information and have not yet heard back. Duffy, though, has been cracking down on what he says are illegally issued commercial driver's licenses. He says, at the minimum, bus drivers should be able to read road signs and communicate with police, framing the issue as a safety risk. Last year, he unveiled new guidelines strengthening English proficiency requirements for commercial drivers. The NTSB is also investigating the crash. They're expected to hold a news conference sometime today. Kaylee.
Madeline Rivera, thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe.
I can't believe they're still out there driving. All minutes.
As well. Stop China from buying our land, tripled border security, designated cartels as terrorists, and am now taking on one of our most growing and biggest threats, which is Sharia law and Islamification. You know, Sharia law is organized crime, period, and I will treat it as such. I also changed the law to stop these radical Muslim groups like CARE and Muslim Brotherhood from buying any property in Texas.
Treating Sharia law as organized crime. Can you please unpack that? That's fascinating.
Yes, look, we've got to make sure that everyone understands this is not a religious liberties issue. This is not a First Amendment issue, because if they're faithfully adherent to their ideology, and I call an ideology for a reason, in the Quran, they see us as the infidel that they can commit jihad against. This is an America first issue. This is a Texas first issue. This is a national security issue, because they don't think we deserve the right to exist as Americans or as Christians. And it's how they're undermining us with this red-green alliance that we have seen. Benny, I've seen it at the Capitol. 10 Commandments, I mentioned earlier. Guess who lobbied against that? CARE did, right? The radical Muslim terrorist group. That shows you what they're going for. They're trying to destroy this country, and they're trying to destroy this state, because the left is certain of this. If they take Texas, they've taken this whole country. We cannot elect a Republican president without Texas. They're well aware of that, and they're coming for us, like James Tallarico, for example. That guy is a lunatic. This is a guy that says he's a pastor, and I use air quotes for a reason. Said there's a biblical argument for abortion. He said that God is non-binary transgender. He said it's unchristian and un-American to display the 10 Commandments in schools. So you know what my reaction to that was? I bought 10 Commandments posters for all the schools in his district and donated them in his honor.
Well, I would love to get to Tallarico. Just really quickly, though, to unpack the other part of your approach towards third worldism in Texas, which we all know why the left wants to import as many third worlders to Texas as possible. It is, of course, to take the crown jewel of America and the 35 different electoral votes that you get from the state of Texas and to flip them to Democrats. This is the main goal. The left has been talking about this. They've been transparent about this for decades. This is their goal. It is absolute population replacement and cultural replacement of Texas. I think that is, frankly, one of the top 3 issues in the country right now, actually. And you say that you said there was another part other than treating Sharia law as a criminal enterprise. You're going to be stripping away the power from these Muslim groups. How are you going to do that?
That's right. So I am the only one in this race that has fought for and changed the law to stop Sharia and Islamification. Number one, we made it a second-degree felony to enforce Sharia law. I will make sure that that is enforced to the fullest extent of the law. Number two, change the law to stop these no-go zones like you've seen in North Texas. East Plano Islamic Center, Epic is one of them. They've renamed it to the Meadow. They're going to keep renaming it. But what this law does is it allows the AG to bring an action to deny public benefit. And what is that? Sewer, water, electricity, roads, management districts. That makes sure that the Meadow remains a meadow. But the third that I mentioned earlier, probably the most powerful tool, is stopping enemy entities from owning any property in Texas that includes critical infrastructure. So we need to continue to add to that list. Right now, CARE and Muslim Brotherhood are on that list. We need to keep adding, because what it does is it prevents them from owning any property in Texas, and it allows the AG, and I made sure that was in the law, to bring an action to force them to divest and sell their property. We cannot allow them to own 1 square inch in our great state. Look, I'm never retreating from Washington, D.C., because I'm never going to Washington, D.C. I have always known that the fight is right here in the great state of Texas. I was born here, and I'll be buried here. This is it.
So, Mays, what are you going to do as Attorney General to assist the Trump administration in deportations? We got outrage from DHS talking about a Afghan national in Texas and saying you should check out this TikTok account. And it's a TikTok account. This guy's like talking about how he's going to take his Uber that he drives and use it as a car bomb to blow up buildings in Dallas. He's bragging about it with all of his Afghan friends live on TikTok. Like, what the hell is going on here? Of course, the guy is here on some type of relocation program that Joe Biden brought him in. And Joe Biden's literally bringing terrorists into Texas. How are you going to reverse that cycle?
Well, look, this is simple for me. You've seen it across America, right? Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they're blocking ICE. They're blocking President Trump's deportation agenda. We just saw it in Houston not that long ago, in Dallas, in San Antonio, Austin. And what they are doing is they're getting in the way of President Trump's border security and deportation agenda. And we have a very powerful tool to stop that. It was a Freedom Caucus priority. You know, I was chairman of the Texas House Freedom Caucus. And what the ban on sanctuary cities allows me to do and would allow us to do to stop this is 3 things. Number 1, I can sue for civil penalties. Number 2, criminal penalties. Number 3, most importantly, removal from office. You get in the way of President Trump's deportation agenda, you get in the way of ICE, you get removed from office. It is that simple. And that is a very powerful accountability that we need, because this is what the left does, right? They treat our laws, they treat our Constitution as a suggestion. And whenever you do that, you have violated your oath of office and you need to be removed from office.
Wow. You know, this is amazing. LaMonica McIver was up fighting ICE agents and punching ICE agents. Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed yesterday fighting ICE agents in New Jersey. It's obscene to see these Democrat lawmakers behaving like Marxist revolutionaries, violent ones on the street. And so you're saying that if an elected official does that in Texas, you will remove them from office.
Ban on sanctuary cities. It is a powerful tool, but not only that. I fought for the state's deportation law. Senate Bill 4, we just had a big victory before the 5th Circuit on that one. And what it allows Texas to do is allows us to charge illegal immigrants with illegal entry and return them to country of origin. And the reason why that's so important, what did we see in the last 4 years of the Biden administration? He opened up the border. He put illegal immigrants first and citizens second. And the state has to have that backup ability when the federal government refused to do its job, like we saw in 2021 to 2025. And it is a tool I will make sure is enforced.
So the state of Texas would then have the plenary power to take and remove criminal aliens that are not U.S. citizens that are residing in Texas.
That's right, because look, Texas has a constitutional right to repel an invasion, both in our state and our federal constitution. And that is what we did with Operation Lone Star. Do y'all remember the buoys in the river? Also where we surged our state troopers. I was down there in Shelby Park during that. It was amazing to see. We actually locked out. I remember going to Shelby Park, the island, and it was only the state there. We had state troopers from other states as well, and expelling illegal immigrants across the border, making sure they didn't cross. And that's the state's rights to do. We have an ability to repel an invasion, and I will make sure that we use it and use every resource and tool to make sure that we put Texas first. And also, more than that even, you got to point this out. I've been fighting to stop taxpayer benefits from going to illegal immigrants.
Thank you.
Those are the magnets that are causing people to come here. whether that's in-state tuition for illegal immigrants, or also we're paying for education and healthcare. I've been fighting against that for years. Most recently, the victory we had was stopping in-state tuition for illegal immigrants, where we were subsidizing college tuition at our public colleges for illegal immigrants, and we ended that.
2 minutes.
Putting citizens first, putting taxpayers first, making sure only citizen students get those seats in our schools.
Maze,
minutes,
that
I think.
was one of my favorite interviews of all time. Ken Paxton on the border talking about the razor wire buoys that the state of Texas created and invented in order to prevent the criminal invasion of your state. It was incredible, and it was the only state that actually did anything about it. I know that the state of Florida, where I reside, sent some state troopers over to help, but that was amazing, man. I mean, that's one of the greatest fights for the Republic that I've ever seen. And it'd be really nice to see that border as secure as possible. Perhaps we could touch on that. What would you do as Attorney General to ensure that Texas border, which is the longest contiguous U.S. border with any nation, what would you do to lock that sucker down?
Well, the number one thing, we got an incredible president. President Trump is the greatest president we have ever had in our history, period, the end. And I will use every resource and every tool in the AG's office to back him up in his border security and deportation agenda, because we've got 3 years left to do the job. And it's not just deporting some illegal immigrants. We got to deport all illegal immigrants.
Okay. Got a couple of videos, and now the last one till tonight. Trisha.
Get 300 bonus. Here's something that's great. He put one out on Twitter. She's been going after him saying, oh, he's just a reality star, just a reality star. When he was in his 20s, he was just busy doing, reality star stuff. And I was busy working hard for the working people. And he got her back. He said, when I was in my 20s, I was on a TV show. When Karen Bass was in her 20s, she was training in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare with communists in Cuba. Back when the LA Times was still in LA and used to tell the truth. Woo! And then he has a little excerpt here from the LA Times saying, plaintiff Karen Bass, according to a 1973 intelligence document provided to the Times, traveled to Cuba with the 6th contingent of the Venceremos Brigade. The brigade trains revolutionary prone Americans in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare while claiming to harvest sugarcane. Bass, she characterized herself as one of the leaders. She returned from Cuba to the USA, bringing back propaganda literature, the document noted without citing the source of this information. This is from an article there in the Times from LA that he cited and put out on Twitter, 1983. Woo. That might just do it. Because, I got to say, I look at the motivation of these people. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You really want to turn us into Cuba? You want to turn LA into Havana, lady? I mean, it might as well already be. You look around and it's one ugly sight. It's bad, guys. It's bad. And you know what? You get all the homeless on the street. You get, unfortunately, oh gosh, do we have this soundbite for you? I think we do. And this is the people that they talk to. Someone on Fox actually went out and did a whole bunch of MOSs with people, and they were talking to them about what they wanted to see there in, I'm going to call it Little Havana, because it's certainly how it feels. And they were pretty upfront about it. They're like, this is one gross, awful place, one gross, awful place. And they said, you know what? We're going to actually vote for, wait for it, for Pratt, right? They're voting for Pratt because they feel like he's the only guy that can clean it up. We're going to go first to Spencer Pratt, who talked about what he intends to do in his first 3 weeks in office. And I think he's going to get it. Watch.
First 3 weeks, signs up across the city. No more nakedness, no more drug use, no more robbing, no more burning dogs in the street. No more dog abuse. Yeah. on every sign, on every word, so that, and we're going to go around, we're going to warn everybody, hey, got 3 more weeks of this, like clock's ticking, just keep telling everyone, just so the people that are aware, they're like, oh, wow, there's a new mayor in town, they may start leaving. And then when the 3 weeks, or maybe we'll even do 2 weeks, maybe people will want it faster. And then once we start enforcing the laws, boom, streets will be back. You know who else I'm going to bring in? The CDC, because there's medieval diseases in these encampments. They're not swabbing these encampments. They're not swabbing the streets. People are just living in feces and drug use and dogs burning and body. We need these streets cleaned.
Yeah.
I just had to show you these. I grabbed them at Target for my dogs. It turns out they love the ice cream just as much as I do.
Wow. Okay. So here's what I want to show you. People are so upset with what's going on. And they did this interview, if you would, with Fox, one of the people on Fox, and they let them have it.
What makes you angry about LA?
Kind of smell like shit, but it's alright. Homeless on every corner. LA isn't a city, it's a public toilet at this point.
I don't want to walk to my car and go, oops, I stepped in human feces.
Actually, I'm not angry about LA. There's traffic, but it's been like that forever.
There's homelessness, but it's been like that forever.
Yeah.
Poverty, period. The potholes.
What is Mayor Bass doing to solve these problems?
No, I ain't heard nothing. No,
Ain't
no
nothing changed. Nothing.
Still smell like I haven't seen none.
I wonder sometimes.
Who were you voting for?
Bass.
Right. Nothing that Bass has done, but you're going to vote for her.
I'm not even voting.
Does it matter? It really doesn't matter. Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt. We're going to have a Pratt Daddy summer, I'll tell you that.
He actually tells us the truth.
I think it could happen. I mean, I really do. I think a lot of people are not telling the pollsters who they're going to vote for because they're shy about this. And you've got the establishment that's just trying to put him down and put him down and put him down. How dare he come out and run for mayor? How dare he? How dare he put out these AI memes and this, that, and the other? And gosh, the guy's got over 1 million followers on Twitter now. How dare he? He's just a reality star. Listen to CNN freaking out over the idea that a Spencer Pratt could be mayor of LA.
We live in a time when I think the traditional politician, Karen Bass, came from a traditional background, where she served in Congress. People want something different, and I think Spencer Pratt offers that. Ultimately, if this goes to a runoff, that's where he faces a bigger challenge.
Yeah, and I don't want to overlook the things that are issues in LA, for example. As always, the conversation about crime always affects a mayor, right? There's the numbers versus the perception, how people feel. What do you see in this race?
I just think we've entered the era of the celebrity politician. And look, I think
because messaging is the whole thing. Yeah. It's the whole shebang.
Yeah, and going back to the founding of the country, we wanted leaders that came from the people and of the people. I don't know.
They're like, oh my gosh, how can this be? I mean, how can you possibly have a guy like Spencer Pratt who just actually is living the hell that most people in LA are living? I mean, don't forget why he got involved in politics. It was because his house burnt down and Karen Bass didn't care. No one cared. And she still hasn't done anything about the fires. And she still hasn't done anything about the homeless. And you got a real set of problems there in LA because ever since 2020, since George Floyd, guess what? They figure they don't have to actually police. That's the problem. Democrats are against the police. They want to defund the police. And believe me, that goes a long way towards what? Oh, I don't know. Increasing crime. It's not that hard. I keep saying this. Would anybody, please, anybody, show some common sense? This guy tries to talk a little common sense. He adds a little few facts and figures to really flesh out his argument there on CNN. And little Blondie, who's sitting next door to him, is like, oh, no, watch this. This is a good clip.
If you look at the trajectory of Los Angeles over the past 30 years, 80s, early 90s, crime and homelessness was incredibly high. Then starting about 1992 to 1994, both crime and homelessness begin to plummet for about 22 years. All of a sudden, it starts to tick up right around 2014 once again. Seems to serve our purpose is to go look at what worked during that period and what worked in the opposite direction to have it start ticking up again. And if you go speak with people in the district attorney's office, and these are people, they're Democrats, one, for instance, candidate for city attorney, John McKinney, African-American man who's been in the DA's office for over 35 years through
This is important. Listen to what he says.
Many different waves of crime and homelessness in Los Angeles. He says, listen, people can tell themselves all the comforting delusions that they want about how people who are addicts, who have drug problems, who are homeless, how they solve that problem. A lot of these people, they got the treatment that they needed once they got arrested. Okay, you can sit there and say that, oh, we should just have them, cart them into treatment centers, and they should get the help that they need without, any consequences for the criminal behavior that they're engaging in. That's not how it works, right? So these people, more likely, there's not an inalienable right to be able to live wherever you want in public spaces, and to say that the government, that the people of Los Angeles cannot regulate those public spaces. So to say that if you want the government's help, if you want resources that are paid by the public teat, by tax dollars, that you have to go to a certain area to get those services, I'm not seeing where there's anything wrong with that.
From a fiscal responsibility, even if you don't care about the humanitarian aspect, it is much easier and more cost-effective to prevent people from falling into cycles of homelessness to begin with than to invest in over-policing and incarceration and pipelines that leave people more traumatized when they exit.
Okay, well, we can look at experience and we can look at fiscal responsibility. And once again, these aren't things we have to speculate upon. We have.
You see, because I think if I'm hearing her right, she's got the typical liberal point of view that they never should have actually become addicted to anything to begin with, because you should have been spending piles of money on all these clinics and special mental health centers and this, that, and the other, and giving out handouts so as people don't come to that situation. Yeah, you know what? Here's what I would say. Let's reestablish the family unit, which Black Lives Matter wanted to destroy. Let's make sure that, people have something in their lives. Religion can be a really good thing, right? Let's make sure that there's some cohesiveness to society. But no, that's not what they're talking about. They just want more giveaways. And you know what happens to the giveaways? They go to Ilhan Omar's Somali district friends and, whoever's running those who knows what clinics off of Medicaid that you got in California. I mean, that money never gets spent in the right places.
Data points. We have the recent history to look back upon. Everybody forgets this. 2016, like I said, homelessness began to tick back up. 2014, 2015, 2016, they put it to the voters of Los Angeles. Let's pass Measure Triple H to fund $1.2 billion in homeless financing. That was supposed to go to building 10,000 units of homeless housing to get people into those houses. In about 6 years, how many out of the 10,000 units do you think they built? Barely over 1,000. Okay. During that period, while we blew through $1.2 billion, the homeless population doubled. So if we're looking at experience and fiscal responsibility, the people that are running this city, the people that were put in charge of that $1.2 billion, they clearly don't know what they're doing, and they're not using the money fiscally responsibly. In fact, they spent double as much to have the problem double in size.
He's good. He's really good. Anyway, so look, I think Spencer's going to get it. But do you guys agree? I really do think that there's a lot of shy voters out there. They're not telling the pollsters what they're going to do. And so when it comes down to the top two, Raman and Karen Bass, no. I think Karen Bass, a lot of people, there's an advantage being an incumbent, and he's going to be able to take her on come fall. But I think what we're going to find out in LA, and this is going to be exciting because they're going to freak out and we're going to love it. He's going to pull it off. He's going to pull it off.
Okay, guys, everybody. I got a couple Trishas today, a couple Bennies, Billy. A lot of good stuff out today so far. So, yeah, I'm waiting for him to call. I'm not sure what time tonight, so it could be even 8 o'clock, so I'm not sure what time. So everybody have a good rest of the weekend, and we'll see the second show tonight. Thanks, Maj, Carol, Tim, Lucy, and Go. And I don't know where Kay went. I'll wait. I don't know if she had to do something today or not. I don't remember. I think it was today, maybe. All right. God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like. Oh, where's my sign? Oh. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. And signing off for show number 1 for May 30th on a Saturday. Chico and Dude and Jay, thanks. Yep, we'll have another good one tonight. Not sure when. We'll see you soon.